Welcome, welcome. Tweet it out. Come on up if you want to speak. Just request and I'll bring everyone in as needed. This movie was so much fun. I had a great time. Hello, Renee. Hi. E-dubs, E-dubs. Hi, Mess. Hello, my friend Black Dynamite. Hi, CEO of Sleepy Teacher Inc. Yami Faye Baker, welcome. I know you tweeted you were excited too. Alrighty. I don't know where my co-hosts are, but we will get into it. So, woohoo! Welcome, welcome, welcome to What We Watch. Honestly, how do we feel? How do we feel? Renee, Black Dynamite, how do we feel?
It was like 8 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. I loved it.
Beautiful. Black Dynamite? You're on mute.
Oops.
Okay, yeah. CEO. Come on up.
Hello?
Yes, sir. How'd you feel about
Okay.
it?
I say this as someone that not a 100% dedicated comic book fan. So I know like a little stuff, like the Wikipedia stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow all the big comic nerds that actually know all this stuff. And I'm saying this as a
Just give me your first feeling though. Like give me a word or a rating.
okay. Out of 5 stars, I give it 3.
Okay.
But if you want me to
CEO.
if you want me to describe it, I'll say a roller coaster ride at
Okay.
the State Fair.
Okay. Roller coaster ride at the state fair. Wait, which state? Because I'm from Texas. We got good state fairs.
I mean, any state fair, because all state fairs has been the news that some ride that they thought was safe wasn't safe because somebody got killed or somebody got flinged in the air, or
Oh my
that
god.
video of those people that was on the circle swing and they had somebody like a whole group of men had to
I
run to
love
the
those rides. I'm
yeah,
a risky person. I'm a risk taker.
and that's what
CEO of Sleepy Teacher. What's your name?
Hey, Toya.
Hi, Toya.
I expected it to be ridiculous because Ragnarok was a little bit ridiculous.
Correct.
So I'm disappointed at all. I had a good time. I would have liked to have seen a little more from the villain, maybe, because I think
Because
Christian
he
Bale got
bodied that, right?
he did the 10
It
minutes he was in the
did.
movie. He did amazing, and then I was like, oh,
Exactly.
come on.
I would like to welcome my lovely co-host, Henry. Y'all know I don't let straight men talk too much, but I'll allow them to talk today since I'm leading the space. Hi, Henry.
I would like to thank you very much for letting the straight men get their takes off. It is it's very humbling. I appreciate that.
I am a very benevolent woman. It's true. Tell me how you felt. We're just getting feelings out right now. You know I like feelings.
I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Ragnarok is I still put it a hair below Ragnarok, but overall a very good time.
Love that. So I want to start the conversation real quick first with if you want to come up, just let me know. I'll be rotating people in and out. But audience, if you're not coming up, give me a clap if you enjoyed it. The bottom right, heart with the plus sign. Give me a clap if you enjoyed the movie and a peace sign if you didn't. I shouldn't say no peace signs, honestly. I may let one peace sign person talk. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Well, I already let Black Dynamite talk a little bit. Okay, we'll get more from you. Okay, so most people liked it. Sprite didn't like it. Hey, Sprite. Hey, one humble lion. Okay, but most people enjoyed it. Got you, got you, got you. Okay, I want to start off first, and a lot of you have already kind of said it. Um, I'll welcome my other co-host, Tej. I'm letting a couple straight men talk today. Uh, Women, if you would, or non-binary and women, if you would like to come and co-host a space, you let me know. But I'm letting straight men talk with me up here, running shit for today. Hi, Cheech. We got our first feelings out. How did you feel? Just the feeling.
I felt great. I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Okay, beautiful. So let's talk about Taika, guys. Let's just start. Y'all know what we watch is about. Follow what we watch film TV. Just click the ad at the top. Let's talk about the director, okay? Because Taika wrote and directed this, and I think he co-wrote it with I forget the person's name. I think it is a woman too, so I need to be better about that. Do we know who co-wrote this screenplay with Taika?
Jennifer something.
Jennifer Lay something, right? So I do want to start off. Who in the room is familiar, at least, with Taika in any way, shape, or form? Give me a hand clap or anything if you are familiar with Taika
I
and
mean,
his
it's
work.
kind of hard not to be at this point. He's kind of everywhere now.
Right, right. But some people might have just realized, or some people might not even know who Taika is and what his kind of style is. So you probably know Taika from Ragnarok. Now I gotta ask this just to get a temperature. Did you enjoy Ragnarok? Clap if yes, peace sign if no. And it looks like some of you may have the option to kind of comment, like via like there's a little bubble at the bottom now. Okay, so we liked Ragnarok. Speakers, did we like Ragnarok? Clap if
Absolutely.
you did.
Top 10 Marvel film.
That's a top
Yeah,
three for me.
coming
I watch it all the time.
Okay,
yeah,
top
coming
three.
from
Okay, I
Thor
didn't
one and
know.
coming from
Okay,
Thor
so
one, Thor two, the bar was low. So yeah, I'll say yes.
the bar was low, so you enjoyed it.
I mean,
Hearts,
I
claps.
enjoyed it in general, but yeah,
Okay, got it, got it, got it. Did we like Dark World?
No. Mid.
yes.
No, that shit stinks.
Absolutely not.
Mid. The
Okay,
mid god, so to
so
speak.
let's go around and co-host. You can help me manage too, but I do want. What do y'all know about Taika? Let's talk about the directing of this film. How y'all felt about it? Can we get into it? Are we dedicated? Are we like yes, Taika plus Thor plus Tessa? That's like the three T's for me. That's a pillar. Give me Taika, Tessa, and Thor all day. Or are we like, no, not really? Put your hand up. Let me know how you feel about Taika. Henry and Tej, y'all can go first, and then we'll call on folks.
I I love Taika. I think that he has a rare ability to create art that is really sad but also really funny, and I think people take for granted how hard that is to do. And Thor has probably been through more than anybody in the MCU as far as losing people and the kind of things that he's gone through in his journey. So I think Taika is kind of the perfect person to kind of merge those, like, oh, we can make Thor funny, but also we can kind of show you Thor's trauma and the sadness that kind of comes with being alive for thousands of years and seeing people come and go. I think
Right.
that Taika's style is kind of perfectly fit to make these films. And like, I hate the first and second Thor movie. I think he took a literal dead part of the franchise and breathed a lot of life into it. And I like, for example, Jane to me is a nothing character in terms of those first two movies. She is a big nothing burger, and Natalie Portman is way too talented to play roles like that. And it was not a wonder that she was like, "Oh, fuck this, I'm out of here." And so to be able to bring her back and actually breathe life into that character in this film was just so
Beautiful.
phenomenal to see, and it just shows how talented
Taika.
Taika is. I can't say enough about him.
That's lovely. Henry, what do you think?
Yeah. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Hemsworth kind of like handpicked Taika for this new take on Thor. Like after Dark World, he went to Kevin Feige and was like, "Yo, like my movies are kind of mid. Loki is literally outshining me in these movies. Like I need something like I need a fresh breath of air. So I think, with Taika coming in, I heard he was announced to do Ragnarok. I went back and watched What We Do in the Shadows just to
Yes.
kind of get an idea of what the tone would be. I fucking love that movie, so that definitely got me hype. And yeah, like Teach said, like his style of just blending, sadness with, some of that outward hilariousness of certain situations, I think is a perfect
And I
for this kind of character.
and I love that, right? Because we talk about tone and style with Taika so much because it's so unique in this industry. And even as I hear y'all talk about like breathing life into these types of movies, it's like, wow, imagine needing to breathe life into a Marvel fucking movie, right? But there is something missing, and Chris Hemsworth probably saw that. But for me also, there is no comedy without tragedy. I've had kind of always looked at things like that, and I think me and Taika like get that there is so much in it, and most of it comes from that. We have to laugh in order to survive most times. I'm not trying to be grim or anything, but a lot of it comes from just like serious things, and we make light of it and we bring levity to it. And I think Taika, not only in his art but in his personality and the way he just manages life and things, I think that shows in his art. um Quick clap and then we'll go to the speakers. Clap if you've heard of these shows or movies. I think they're mostly movies actually. And if you've watched them, and if you love them, give me a heart as well. So I'm going to go through a few. If you're not familiar with Taika, get familiar. That's my guy. He's one of my favorite directors. He's up there with Barry Jenkins, freaking Bong Joon-ho. Like, I literally love Taika. Like, truly. So Thor Ragnarok. Clap if you've seen it. Heart if you loved it. Just checking the audience, saying, okay, we're familiar with Taika. Jojo Rabbit. Did we see it? At least have we heard about it? Clap. Did we love it? Give a heart. Peace sign if we're not familiar. We got to get familiar with Taika. He does have a very niche kind of approach to his art. Again, style and tone. So if you don't like him, you're kind of going to keep getting the same thing. And he likes to be in his movies a lot too. He was in this movie as well. Thor, Love and Thunder. So we're talking about it. You've heard about it, obviously. Did you like it? Did you love it? What about Free Guy? Did y'all know he was in Free Guy? He didn't direct it. Sean directed it, but he was in it. He was fun. He kind of played the same character he played in Jojo Rabbit in Free Guy, which is really funny to me. And then What We Do in the Shadows. Henry, thank you for bringing that up. Have we watched that movie? What We Do in the Shadows? Ah, there's a What We Watch recommendation for Taika, guys. And fun fact, this is a TV show that Taika helped direct and produce, The Mandalorian. Clap if you've heard about it and if you love it. Taika was a part of a large team of The Mandalorian. And actually, if you have Disney Plus, you can go and hear everyone talk about how fun it is to work with Taika, and you can listen to his interviews there. I think it's literally on Disney Plus. Henry, you
He's
you know what I'm
directing.
talking about.
Well,
You said what now?
he's directing his own Star Wars movie soon as well. I think that's next on
Oh
the.
my goodness. They giving Taika the bag, y'all. All right, Bam, you've been so patient. Talk to me.
Um, I'm sorry, I'm driving right now, but I'm about to park. So I might be in like the minority, in regards to the last two Thor movies, um, in that I'm in this weird space where I enjoy the movies, but I don't necessarily like them for the Thor character. Um,
Mm,
I'm personally Thor's my favorite superhero out of Marvel. Um, has been for years. Uh,
really?
yeah, that's my guy.
Is Thor anybody else's favorite Marvel character?
Well,
I've never heard anyone say this. Anybody else? Give me a hand clap or a heart. Is Thor anyone else's favorite?
He's
I've
up there
never
for
heard
me. I
anyone
don't
say
know if I
this.
ever picked a favorite, but he's up there.
He's up there. Okay, so we
uh,
like Thor. We all like sexy men with some. Okay, cool, great. I love that for
but
us.
and in that, with the kind of shift in tone that Thor Ragnarok did, um, it and then furthermore into Love and Thunder, I was kind of like, yeah, these movies are enjoyable. Yeah, they're breathing life into the dead franchise. All the things that everyone is saying, but I'm like, I'm sitting here like the core issue that has been the problem with the Thor franchise. Thor's entire story was done within one movie, that first movie. It was the whole
Mm.
unworthy, I'm worthy again, hurrah. And he kind of suffered from Marvel being, they were kind of close to keep things close to the chest in those first few movies, whereas you have this character who is really a spacefaring Viking frat boy, but you're not letting him be that. And you don't do that until you get Guardians of the Galaxy and you see how people love space people doing wonky, wacky shit. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, hey, we could throw Thor into this. And, that's straight out of his comics. He can go do. If Thor had been gallivanting across the realms and fucking shit up like he did in the first 10 minutes of Ragnarok, and then Odin was like, yo, you need to chill out, unworthy, and then we have a character arc, Marvel would have been in a different position. But
I
that's
think
where.
he kind of did that in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Right.
I think
But
he got a little bit of that, and then in What If, he got to do a little bit of that.
right, but we're what, 10, 12 years, what is it now, 14
right.
years into the MCU, and so that's kind of where I'm like, damn, this
Got
would
it.
have been cool in the beginning, but like,
So maybe around, everything around the movies is like, damn, we
right,
had to wait until now. I
right.
see you. I feel you.
But yeah, like I said, I enjoy the movies. Do I watch them a bunch? Dude, I watch these particular movies a bunch of times. Nah, because I feel like whereas a lot of people like the levity when with the subject matter, I'm kind of like, yo, everybody you love just kind of got annihilated. Kind of want that a little bit darker, personally, but that's just me. I've been told I like to watch people suffer. That might just be
that's a personal thing you're going with.
might be.
Anybody else? Do we echo Bam's sentiments? Any speakers?
I understand it. I feel him.
Go ahead, Ballin' and Biscuits. Hi, welcome. Are you a first time What We Watch speaker?
Yes, I am. I actually
Welcome.
pop in sometimes, but I be busy or I'll be at work most of the time.
I
So I
know.
just listen to it.
Capitalism is awful.
I
Talk to
mean,
us. How did you feel?
also, nice to meet you, by the way. I actually literally just watched the movie a minute ago, so this is like
Okay,
my high off
beautiful.
it. So yeah, my I would say my main issue. I like the movie, but I'm not gonna lie. Some of the moments were really, really cringe. It was it was like with the scene with like I know Thor and Jane's story already, so it's like all right, cool, but I didn't need to see them like rollerblade and all that. Like I understand they have a relationship, but
That shit was funny.
it was.
Man, I love that part of the film.
Wait, which scene? Because I love a scene breakdown. Which scene? Because they had Thor and Jane have a ton
The
of scenes.
flashbacks of them like when they
Yeah.
first started dating and stuff.
Oh, the little montage
Yeah.
flashback. when
To the Enya song.
Korg was telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
Korg was a narrator in this movie, guys. I want to be clear. They gave Korg a big. Is his name Korg? Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it
Korg.
is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But I guess my main issue really with the MCU is like with characters like Gore, he should have been like Thor's Thanos.
Mm.
Because in the comic books, it takes like 3 Thors to be Gore the God Killer. So it's
And I feel you, and hold that thought, because What We Watch, I love a villain. Y'all know how I am, and there's never a time where I'm like, the villain did too much, stifle the villain. I'm always like, turn that villain up. So that's a sentiment I keep hearing. We wanted more of Gore, which I don't. If you're gonna critique a movie of mine, I love that. I wanted more from the villain that drove the plot forward. So thank you, Ballin. Angela, talk to me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Please don't bully me. I did not like this movie.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-mm. About to
I'm
kick you off the
sorry.
stage.
I'm sorry.
Boo.
It felt like I was watching and I get it, correct me if I'm wrong, like a lot of the original comics were like trippy, like with Thor. But it felt like I was watching a Nickelodeon's movie from the 90s. And like that scene where he stopped the ship with his legs, I was like, come on, nigga, like this is a
That
bit
shit
much.
was funny too. He hit the Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was dying.
Henry finds all of y'all's critiques to be hilarious. He's like, that
And
shit
it
was
just
funny.
felt like Chris Hemsworth was like, all right, I'm gonna make sure my family get a check, because the little girl is his daughter,
Right.
and the person that he was having sex with on that horse is his wife, and wasn't his other like brother
The
or
wolf,
like dad
the
in the
wolf
movie
woman.
too. Like it just felt like he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get my family some Disney money." Like
That's
His
swag
son in
though.
it too.
yeah,
Not
like
the not the nepotism.
my favorite character in the movie was the guy that was playing Imdal's son, Axel. Like I was like, oh,
Yes.
I wish he was in
Love
this
that baby.
more. Like he was like my favorite person. But like besides that, it felt like when my brothers used to watch TV with me as a kid, I felt their frustration because I'm like, oh my god, this is how they felt when like we go to the movies, and I'd be like, let's watch Rugrats in Paris, and they're like,
Did
we're not trying
you
to watch this shit.
did you like Ragnarok?
I did. I love Ragnarok, but this just felt like
Interesting.
too overboard for me.
Interesting. Okay, so he crossed line a little too much. But Dubs, what is your name again? Dubs, Adultish Gambino. That's funny.
Hey, my bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, what's up? I mean, my real name is Adrian, but you'll see me play this like ongoing gag because people think I look like Carl Anthony Towns, so I just use that as marketability. But we'll get into that. That's why you
Carl
saw
Anthony
my
Towns is in the space, guys. Welcome. What
yeah,
did you
yo,
think
what's up,
about
y'all?
Thor?
How do you
What's up?
feel about
Yeah,
Gobert joining your team?
man, don't get
My
me
good,
started. I mean,
close and personal friend
I'm
Gobert.
excited. I'm about to become Allen Iverson on the court. Just watch, bro. You know what I'm
Not
saying? I
that.
don't have to sit in the paint.
Not
But
AI.
but
Go ahead.
let me get back to the topic. Yeah, thanks for having me for the stage. First of all, quick note on Taika Waititi. I mean, that guy is definitely a type of director that I look up to. As a
Yes.
writer, director, actor myself, like just to see him be able to take such big roles and execute it great, and then take like secondary roles like acting and writing. You know what I mean? I definitely put directing at the top of the pyramid. But
Right.
to see him be able to write and really envision that world, it just obviously is going to inform it as a writer, or as a director. But so does acting. So I just gotta, my hats off to him. Few highlights. Um, I feel like Taika the Thor, he really did kind of put a light, because I'm not really sure where they were going with the first and second Thor story. I know somebody said they felt like the Thor stories were kind of dry and kind of ended real quick, and I could definitely agree to certain parts. You had
Yeah.
that full arc and show him kind of become worthy by the end of the movie, as opposed to becoming worthy over a series of 3 movies. So I can definitely see how that might have put Thor in a bind. But
Right.
I mean, Taika Waititi was a perfect person to reinvent the Thor series if it was running dry, because of his just lack of innovation to become anything more other than his worthy self, and protecting Asgard, et cetera, et cetera. But I really do think Taika to Thor was what like a Sam Raimi was to Doctor Strange 2. We know Sam Raimi's good for horror, and a lot of people didn't like Doctor Strange 2, but I mean, it was supposed to be dark, just like Dark World. And kind of jump into Gore, I feel like Gore would have been a better villain for like a Dark World as opposed to this one. Even though I really enjoyed the film, I really feel like if they had maybe swapped villains, it would have been able. You
Ooh.
would have been able to really kind of
What a
really
thought.
highlight Christian Bale's performance, because I feel like, I hope it wasn't lost in translation. Everyone that appreciates Christian Bale will appreciate Christian Bale, but I feel like
Period.
in this movie, if you're just jumping on, you're just like, oh yeah, he's kind of scary. And I do agree with one of the speakers. I don't remember which one it was, but I do feel like Gore had the potential to kind of be like an equivalent to Thanos, or at least Thor's Thanos.
Yes.
And he kind of
And
was, if you think about it, because
if
it
you
took
look at me and
Natalie and
Cheech's
Tessa to fight him.
tweets,
You know what I'm
Cheech was
saying?
talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
He
he
was
kind of
really
was,
giving
because
people bars. Like he was really, the bar game was crazy.
I'm telling you, like the philosophy behind the whole story, and like the parallel between
They did a
um
beautiful job.
Thor losing Natalie, and him losing
His daughter.
his daughter, you know what I mean? And if you think about it, just like how Thanos won when he clicked his fingers, Gore won in this movie. If you really think about it, he could have ended the man right there. He could have got what he wanted with the I forgot
With the eternity.
yeah, there you go, the attorney. So he won. Like, it took Natalie and Tessa's characters to fight him. So it wasn't for Natalie coming in and risking her life and speeding up the progression of her death,
Right.
Thor probably would have died if you think about it. So Gore was pretty damn powerful. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they definitely
And I
gave him his
love
power
that.
flowers. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, I wonder if they were to swap villains and kind of position Gore in a darker world, because he comes from darkness and on this
It's
revenge bending thing. Like, he's the God killer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you really have to sell that one.
Turn
And I
him
think,
up. Yeah. It's
you know what I'm saying?
interesting
You
that
really
you
got to
say
turn
that.
him
I
up.
think
Yeah.
it's a very I've never heard anyone say swap villains within like, a series for
Yeah.
a Marvel character, and I think that's very, very cool. Let's talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. Let me let Jay go, and then Jess, and then Renee.
Hello.
Hi Jay, welcome.
Thank you. I love being here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I was watching. I remember watching it. And I always had this sentiment that I never really liked it for. I felt like he was mostly just kind of bland. Kind of the same reason why I never liked it, Superman, because it's like you a god. Your first movie, you were unworthy. You got your hammer back. You started, you whooping your brother up in the movie. It was cool. And I think it wasn't until Thor Ragnarok that I was kind of like, oh, okay, so there's actually more to this than just a dark, gloomy, sad movie. There's a human behind just this cocky, arrogant person. And I think in Endgame they kind of really went into that with him being depressed and fat. It was kind of like there's actually a human, and it's not just a god. Gods also have feelings. So going into this movie, I was expecting less comedy. I was kind of expecting, because in the comic books, Gore is one of my favorite villains. Like his whole plot is like, I'm not here to play games, tell you, the super villain, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Nope, I'm
Right,
pulling up, I'm stabbing you, I'm leaving, I'm going to the next person.
right.
And I kind
Efficiency.
of felt like some of the jokey things were too much. Like when Gore had all of them hostage, and he says the dentist bar, it's kind of like, yeah, it's cool. Like, he is going to murder you. Like, this is not a time to play around. So that was kind
Mm-hmm.
of one of my points. I feel like people were going overboard, like, oh, the comedy was too much. No, I disagree. I think the comedy was cool. My personal favorite character is Gore. Not Gore. Korg. He is, in my opinion, hilarious.
Korg is
And
so adorable.
I love the dynamic between him and obviously Stormbreaker being just hilarious as just an inanimate object, and he was still bringing
Right.
some
A love
comedy.
triangle with 2 weapons. Amazing.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that
big
worked so
bars.
perfect. And another one of my biggest flaws, in my opinion, was the runtime. I feel like the runtime could have gone longer, especially with a phenomenal director and a very great cast.
Mm.
I feel like it could have gone longer.
Great points, Jay.
Christian Bale being this kind of evil, dark, like psychotic character, but also not being psychotic enough to the point where it's like, yo, I just talked to you about my dead daughter, and that's how you're gonna feel about me.
Yeah.
I feel like that death would have impacted us more if they would have spent, I don't know, 10 minutes, talk more deeper in his past with
I
his daughter.
I almost wish he wouldn't have died. I almost wish there would have been something that could have happened, because I want to see more of Gore, and I'm sure that we'll figure out a way in some form or fashion. But I honestly want to see more of him. Go ahead, Henry.
Oh no, I was just gonna. Their Marvel has an issue with killing their villains in general, but yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Like, let him cook. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he disappears for a little bit, or I don't know. But thank you, Jay. All great points, and I kind of want to sit with here too with the villain thing and the balance of comedy, because my personal feeling. First of all, I love y'all. Love what we watch. I'm hearing a lot of villain talk. Big up the villains. Love that. We're in the right space. You're in the right space if you fuck with a well written, well acted villain. Christian Bale 8. And I do appreciate that. I think when people say that they had struggled with the balance, that's something that I kind of talked about with my friends before this. And I thought it was beautiful because I understood the risks that they were taking, right? I mean, Taika, now you got to make me laugh, but you want me to take Gore's like tragedy and grief seriously. It's very hard to try to make me, swap between those emotions in a 2 hour, time period. And I think it's very impressive for him to succeed. At least for me, I was able to be like, damn, nah, hold on. I was just dying laughing and crying laughing at Korg and Thor, saying these, team kids in a cage. Like, that's absolutely problematic. I see where he was
Oh
doing with
my
that.
god.
But then you're like, oh no, shit, like for real though, these kids are in a cage. Like, that's a problem. And Gore is kind of insane. But then, like, Jay, kind of like what you said, he's psychotic, but you kind of feel him. And I just think about so many tweets that came out after Thanos was doing. It's like, that man is psychotic. Imagine, y'all remember all the conversation around Thanos was right and all that. I feel like Gore deserves his own fucking hashtag, because he's psychotic, but you were like, well, he kind of spitting these bars in the shadow realm at these three people, or these
The
Asgardians.
faith allegories throughout the movie were just wild to me.
Beautiful. When he told him, he was like, yeah, the gods use y'all. They don't support y'all. They use y'all. I was like, oh.
Like, my daughter died in your name, like, we worshipped you, and the gods
Right.
there
And
will
so
always be people to worship us. Like, the allegories were crazy in this movie.
he did a great job. So I think, and so I know the risk that it takes to try to make people laugh, but you also want people to be committed, right? Because that's how you get a villain and drive the plot forward, is to like make sure that, oh shit, we shook a little bit, we got some things to manage. But Marvel movies are Marvel movies. We kind of always know that there's going to be quote unquote triumph for the quote unquote good side. And so I like that Jay said this could have been longer as well. Jess, and then Renee, go ahead. Hi, welcome, Jess.
Hey, what's up, Monique? I always enjoy your spaces when I get a chance to pop in.
Yes, thank you.
So I wanted to say, you know what? Like I did enjoy this movie. I thought some of the reviews that were really like killing this movie were a little overblown, but I do think the MCU fatigue can set in, because it seems to me like some of what's happening with the Marvel universe is losing like the beauty of storytelling, and they're losing the plot, and they're really just kind of zeroing in on like effects, and who can we get in the after credits to like shock and wow people, because Disney's got all of our money anyways, right? So like it was entertaining, it really was, but it felt like this movie could have been three movies, right? And we just kind of rushed through a lot of things. We meet Jane, she's dying, now she's Thor. That could have been a movie, right? Like what happened between her and Thor?
Spit your
Like
bars then.
when she find out that she's dying, like where does that take her? Like that 2 minute montage of the two of them, I thought it probably could have been a movie, right? And then we get Christian Bale as Gore. That could have been a movie. I don't need 10 more minutes. I need more of him, right? Because that was wild. And then we get
Yes.
his daughter, right? And then again, another example of it being rushed. We meet this girl who dies in the desert, and then by the end she's love. like what are we doing? So to me, I can understand why some people are like banging the MCU over the head, because like they've lost the ability to take their time and tell a story. There's even like there was apparently 2 hours of like extra footage that Taika left on the cutting room floor. There's been instances of like Gwyneth Paltrow on a panel saying like she did this scene for Thor or for Spider-Man, but it was actually Iron Man. Like the cast is so disjointed that sometimes they don't even know what film they're in, and you can feel sometimes like a little bit of the disconnection with some of these films.
Well, Christian Bale was absolutely in a different movie, but it
Right?
worked, in my opinion. It worked beautifully. I'm like, yeah, Christian Bale is not. I think about when they talk about Succession and how Jeremy Strong is in a different TV show. I feel
Taking
like
himself way
Gore
too
is like
seriously.
in a completely different movie. Everybody else was chilling and having a good time and had laughs, and Gore was like, no, none of this shit is funny. Okay, ain't shit funny. All right,
And it shouldn't have been. And it
and
shouldn't have
y'all
been.
look like fools, and
Yeah.
so that was cool. But yeah.
And I don't disagree. Like a lot of critics were saying that the switch up of tones gave them whiplash. They didn't
Right.
know where they were
Right.
at, what they were supposed to feel. That I
I can
don't
see
so
that.
much disagree with. The Shadow
Yeah.
Realm was wicked. Like the Shadow Realm was absolutely insane. And again,
Phenomenal.
Christian Bale, 8. But a lot of it, again, it did feel. It even takes me back to the scene in Doctor Strange, right, where Professor
Mhm.
X is in Wanda's mind, and like you could see what they did in that warehouse on that soundstage. I can't remember what it's called. I think Marvel, like they've been filming a lot of their effects in this. I think it's called the warehouse or something.
Yeah.
And it's like I wish they could actually have gotten outside and touched some grass, right? Like because
Henry,
like
what did
a
you
lot
call
of
it? What did you call it for the room again? Just sorry to interrupt.
It's called The Volume.
there
The
it is.
volume.
Yeah. So they've been filming a lot of their stuff in the volume, and sometimes it works, but then other times, like in Love and Thunder, it kind of just it gets too bright. It's a little bit too false, it's a little bit too fake. And I think a lot of the scenes could have benefited from, again, I understand that COVID might have made some of this harder to do,
Not
but like
might
it
have,
could
it
be
absolutely
from
did.
some
Yeah.
realism, right? Like it would have made it a little bit more
Right.
interesting. But again, ultimately I think like the MCU is going to do what it's going to do. I do like Chris Hemsworth. I do also recognize that Thor, I don't know if it's just me, but we get a different version of Thor with every director, right? With every person who puts their pen to the page. This
Yeah.
character of Thor, sometimes he's more serious than other
And you're
times. Sometimes he's depressed. Sometimes he's dumb. He was kind of dumb in this movie.
and
Like,
you're kind of touching on like the business aspect of this
right.
all, right? And how, yeah, it does matter who the director is and who wrote the screenplay, and because, you know, that's every perspective of that artist is going to be brought out of the character, regardless of, you know, what's written in the comics or whatever. My interpretation of Thor can be different from Tej's or Henry's or Renee's or yours. So definitely a good call out. Definitely.
Right. And wherever they need to take, I guess, the next phase of the MCU, they have to write it in that way. So the last few things that I'll say, and then we can, you know, move on with the rest of the conversation is, I think, again, part of that MCU fatigue is the fact that, like, they have to make me feel the stakes of this world again, right? Nothing seems like it really matters. Like, how do you have the God Butcher in a movie, but we don't really see him butcher no gods? And even when people die, they don't really die, right? The movie's over. You wait those like 2 minutes for the credits, and then you kind of figure out what they're gonna do, right? You can
Right.
also know that the green time stone is there, so they can retcon any of this, bring anybody back to life that they want, and so
Exactly.
they have to find a way to make it feel a little bit more real. I
Beautiful.
never thought, looking at a call sheet, that Russell Crowe would be the weak link of a movie. I don't know what that Zeus was. If I was Greek, I would be offended. That accent was wild. And Thor and his
Chill out, baby
crew,
kick.
bro,
Taika
like
plays all day. That's the problem.
I cannot. Like, and again, that's another moment where like it could have been so much more real. Like, because Chris Hemsworth is not a terrible actor, and Russell Crowe is Russell Crowe, and Tessa Thompson is Tessa Thompson, right?
Period. Okay. The
And so,
last
like,
15 minutes will be reserved for just us praising Tessa Thompson. We'll go around the
please
room, and
give us
everyone in
20.
the space will praise Tessa Thompson. That's our plan for the last 15 minutes, just FYI.
Truly. And so I guess I'll just land my plane here. Imagine a world where Thor and Tessa Thompson, under the pressure of the God Butcher just roaming around their world, killing gods, has to step into the Zeus's world. I can't remember what the planet was called, the Omniverse or whatever it's called.
Omnipotent. Yeah.
There you go. They have to step into that world and like plead for their life and the life of all of their fellow gods, with like the gravitas of a moment of like, shit, man, we need Thor, and all these powerful gods can maybe also snap their finger and kill us. Like, that was supposed to be
And
a
I'm
thing,
gonna
and it was a joke.
I'm gonna let Renee speak, and I'm gonna let some people speak. But Jess, I will say this to end that: I think that's coming. But go ahead,
Well, I need
Renee.
it.
Thank you so
Jess
much.
is uninvited to the orgy.
Period.
I'm
Okay.
good. I'm fine. I don't need it. How are you gonna drop the word orgy 2 times randomly? Like, anyways,
3 times. It was 3. I
That's how
counted as
God
well.
wild. That
act.
was
That's how
Now
wild.
here's the
act.
thing. Here's the thing. I counted because I was a little shook too. Go ahead, Tej. What'd you say?
I think the genius of it and the hilarity of it is the indifference of the gods. They are having a good time hooping and hollering at the same time where they know that other gods are in peril. I think that is the point. I think when you circle back to the end credit scene and Zeus says, "When did we become the joke?" That's the tongue in cheekness of it.
Exactly.
He's trying to show that the conflict there is that the gods quite literally don't care about these conflicts, even when the stakes are
They out
other
here
gods are
fucking.
dying. Like they don't even. Why are they going to care about humans? They don't even care about low level gods dying. So I thought that was like kind of trying to set up the plot line, and I thought it really worked.
It drove home Gore's point, did it not? It drove home Gore's point that he's like,
It
they don't
did.
really give a fuck about you. Like, they out there fucking. Okay. Renee, go ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for waiting.
no problem. So I really enjoyed Thor. I had like heard mixed reviews about it. I wasn't going into this movie expecting to go and think. I just want I just I was not
Shout out Jasmine in the
You weren't
space.
expecting Citizen Kane? Is that what you're saying?
I was
Right.
I was not.
Right.
So, Jasmine dragged me one time and said I like a movie that goes and while I
She
do,
said that about us. She did.
she dragged us. I was like, wow, which fine. Okay, I do like to think. With that being said, I was like, I was like, I just want to feel good. And I felt great when I watched Thor. Like, so I'm going to talk about the things that I loved about it. I felt like I was inappropriately laughing at some times. Like the way that like laughs are just like escaping from my body. I felt like I was laughing so
Yes.
loudly in the theater. Like, I was like, okay, I don't think anybody else is laughing this loudly. Let me be quiet. Like when he said teen kids in a cage, oh my God. I said, I know you fucking lying. I said, kids really are in a cage though. What? Oh my God. When he was talking to Jane and he was like, I even picked up meditation. And she was like, meditation's boring. He was like, it made me angrier. Relatable. That was really fucking relatable. I felt so
Why
seen.
is calming down so fucking hard? It makes you angrier.
When he was telling the story about the kids about Zeus, and then he's going like, yeah, this is why you never. That's why they say never meet your heroes. I said, oh my God, that
Thor
is
was
not.
heartbroken, okay?
I said, that's not why they say that. That you might kill your heroes. That's not why, Thor. But okay, that's the lesson you wanted to take. That's the lesson you wanted to give the kid. I just yelled so many times. I was like,
The
and
goat screaming.
the
Child.
goat screaming. Okay, when the first goat started screaming, I said, "Oh my God." Then when Thor was like, "Yeah, we could turn into the meat," and the goat stopped screaming, I said, "You know what?" And I told Moses,
Meeting people.
right? And the goats got so quiet. They said, "Meat." Let me tell you something. That's why they could not have taken Wakanda. Could not have been there because Wakanda would have made that into a feast.
Straight
Goat
That's
up
why there could not
suya.
be no
curry goat,
Jamaicans.
Feed
sweetie.
millions.
There
They
could
eat
Facts.
it
not
for
be
months.
no Jamaicans in the MCU. Okay, I would have made that into curry goat.
Curry
I have
goat,
a pressure
period.
cooker. So I just
Them niggas would have been kebabbed so fast.
listen. I might make some goat tomorrow. Stop playing with me.
I had some the other. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
But no, so like it was just like comedic and like normally I hate like the slapstick sort of like comedy because once again I can be pretentious and I like to go but I loved it and I like what Chris Hemsworth is doing with Thor because I know that Chris Hemsworth it was important for him to have a Thor that he felt like was funny and I like that because it kind of challenges our notions of masculinity and power to have a man who is funny and vulnerable and crying in tears is
Mm.
still a fucking god.
Spit those bars,
So
sweetie.
I actually love what Chris Hemsworth is doing with Thor. I loved the, because just let it be clear, I am part of the Alphabet Gang. I loved the queer moments in the film because there were like lots of like little queer moments, like the homoerotic relationship between Star Lord and Thor when he was like, look into the eyes of people who love you. I was like, okay, you like it was like Star Lord, you love him. You front. It's fine. Like you front.
It was a lot of queer representation. Tessa, okay, my
Tessa,
queen,
okay.
my
First of
bisexual
all,
queen, Panamanian
listen,
Korg.
queen. Period.
And
yes.
Korg.
And Korg,
Yeah,
yes.
Korg
Ended
had
up
a
with
whole
a
baby at the
man. I
end.
said, all right, it's not
Korg
even
made a baby
June.
with a man named Dwayne the Rock. Okay, Johnson.
Listen, amen. Okay, listen. When I said yes, it is July and the gays are still winning. We're still powerful. I love it.
Period.
Like, so those were things that I loved about the movie. Christian Bale, you know, I think he deserved the movie should have been longer so we could have had more Christian Bale because that's what we deserved and that's what he deserved. I feel like
Right.
I feel like if the movie would have been longer, one Christian Bale would have been able to do to Chris Hemsworth what Heath Ledger did to Christian Bale, eat him up in his own movie. But
I mean,
and I
he
know
was channeling Heath in some of those scenes. Like it has to be said.
No,
He
Christian
yes,
really
ate.
was.
Yeah,
That's facts.
truly, it's a great parallel. Truly.
yes. And I mean, I think because Chris was just like, we got to get Loki out of here. So Chris was like, y'all can't let Christian eat me up. So, I know Chris said, I need to shine because I need to shine and my whole family need to eat. But I,
Literally, literally.
literally. But I think what I appreciate about Christian Bale's like acting, it sucked how short the montage of it was of him in the desert, and then he finds the god, and then the god acts up. But because Christian Bale,
I was really committed to that too. Like, I think Jess brings up a good point. We could have had a couple movies here, right? Or was it Jess or
yeah,
somebody else? Like, yeah, let Gore cook. You know?
Gordon needed to cook because
Yeah.
like I would have loved it if it would have been longer because I was just impressed with the way Christian Bale's face like transformed from like a sniveling like worshiper of like this deity that he believed in to confused to just like angry and hateful and then powerful. Like he did it
Yes.
so quickly. Like I like it was I like honestly like if I was an actor, I would have to replay that scene to say how do I convey emotion with my eyes and my face like that and my voice. So
Talk
it
about
just
it.
it just sucked that we did, but I feel like the thing with Marvel movies, they tend to make it about the heroes versus about the villains. Like the difference with like Heath Ledger and like, The Dark Knight, it was about how does a villain create so much havoc that the hero has to try and rebuild. And I feel like this movie was like more so centered around tying up loose ends and, oh, by the way, we have this very compelling villain.
Right.
Um
I
so I
love that.
would yeah,
Go.
I would have loved it if it could have been longer. You know, I personally liked this sort of rendition of Zeus. I mean, I know like so I mean I only thing I was just like, is Thor strong enough to maim Zeus? I know they different mythology because Norse mythology, but Greek mythology, and how was they wielding this thunderbolt? I mean, that's where I was a little dicey. I might have to. I have Edith Hamilton's mythology book, so I'm gonna read that. Maybe I'll
And I
get some answers.
I'm
But
really glad that they did that. I'm really glad that they're because this is all like it's like a full circle moment, right? And those of you a little bit more into mythology can correct me, but like all of the stuff that we're seeing in these movies over the last decade has kind of, coming from some mythology in the Greek mythology or the other types of mythologies. And now Taika's like, put it in the movie. Like
yeah.
put Zeus and Hercules in a movie and
Oh yeah.
let's like have them like battle out. And they just weren't, he didn't shy away from that. He was like, well, I'm the god of thunder and I've modeled my entire thing off of Zeus. And it's like, okay, we're making a joke off the fact that this is like the truth, but like it was just so fun, it was so cool, and everyone's excited to have freaking Zeus and Hercules in a Marvel movie,
No, they made.
next, because what
Oh
so
yeah.
spoiling the credit scene, by the way, guys,
Oh
welcome.
yeah, I forgot to mention something that had me crying, laughing. When Thor's clothes came off and he had that big Loki tattoo. Oh my god. Oh
Taika
my
plays all day.
oh my god. I yelled. I said no.
Because
Not a
that,
hood
you know what, and
not a
when we
hood tattoo when somebody dies. I said, okay,
I thought
Thor.
he was gonna have an airbrush something too. He gonna have airbrush t-shirts for Loki as well. uh
Yeah, so I just wish it would have been like I genuinely do wish it would have been longer, and I do feel like the pacing was like it was I don't want to say rushed, but it was kind of just like
I feel you.
it yeah, it was just like it was like here's A, here's B, here's C D E. And it was just like we was kind of rushing through the alphabet. It was like, okay, like can't we take a
And
time to have
here's
a
the thing,
melody?
if I write and direct a movie and my criticism is like, damn, it's already over, I'm like, okay, not y'all wanted me to cook a little bit longer. And we talk about that a lot in what we watch. When I hear people say they want more, it wasn't enough, you didn't flesh out this character enough, I could have heard more dialogue from this villain, oh, I want to know more about this relationship between Jane and Thor, or Jane and her cancer, or Jane becoming Thor. That was one of my quote unquote gripes. It wasn't a gripe because really it was like amazing for them to even get me invested in Jane. Tej, I'm with you. I was like, oh, here we go, Jane. Okay. But then I was like, oh, way to get me invested in Jane by making her Thor. Okay, there we go. Okay, Valhalla, got it. But definitely, yeah, if I'm writing and directing a movie, which is, what I'm planning to do and doing, if I hear people saying like, "Hey, let some of these characters cook a little bit more," it sounds like y'all want a Thor TV show. But I'll table that. One
Yeah.
humble lion thing. Oh, go ahead, Renee.
Oh, I
Thank
did
you for.
want to say one more thing that also just made me. I mean, it was talked earlier, Stormbreaker. Oh my god, when he was trying to call that axe I can't pronounce, Melanor,
Mjolnir.
Milnir. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck up that name again.
Yeah,
That's my truth.
you said that the
When
last 15 times you
Meow
fucked it.
meow.
Meow
yeah,
meow
yeah, I'm just gonna call
meow.
him Near. I'm gonna call him Near for short. When he was trying
Not
to
you
call
being
Near,
black and nicknaming folks. Why are you doing that? You
when,
already
when,
nicknaming folks.
when I
I'm
was
gonna
trying to
call
call, when he was trying to get Near, and Stormbreaker said, "I know you're not calling for your ex coming around
Hoops
the
Among
corner."
Us.
I said, "Oh my god." I said, I know that's not what that motherfucking axe
Somebody,
pulling up on him. I lost it. That was,
somebody said.
oh my god, when he was like, I'm so sorry. Let me give you my first beer. I said, oh my god, not Thor being a fuck nigga. And then when he gave the then I said, and then when he
Hoops
finally
Among
like
Us.
you see that he finally was like, all right, I'm gonna take my axe, I'm gonna give the kid not the axe, I'm taking my hammer, I'm gonna get Near back, and I'll give Stormbreaker to the kid. I said, you ain't shit. With that being said, I do agree that the stakes have been low, but I think that's because they're setting it up for Secret Wars, where stakes are going to be really fucking high. And I think they're also setting it up for like Young Avengers, because I
Yes.
like that like Thor is like now becoming some sort of like father figure, which is going to help him have a certain level of responsibility and maybe sort of like depth to his character. Because I like kind of like how Peter Parker, I feel like gave Tony Stark a sort of like depth and like warmth and like like this sort of
Yes.
seriousness and like stoicism and his character. So I really enjoyed that, and it also kind of made me think about Naruto a little bit in like Shippuden, where it was like the will of fire, and the concept of the will of fire is, the whole like I like Naruto, like the leaf like just backstory, like the Leaf Village. They're always like, okay, we have the will of fire, and then like in Shippuden, after like a very traumatic thing happens, I'm still not over it. You discover that the will of fire is that it is like as like an older person, it is your responsibility to raise the next generation and to make them into better people and to make the world into a better place. And I like that sort of lesson, that Marvel
Hmm.
has, that sort of like is teaching that sort of lesson, because honestly that's like something that we all should be taking home with us
Yeah,
anyway.
because as y'all 36. You know what I'm saying? Know your
So are
role in
you. you
society.
you just turned
Monique,
And
stop it.
36
so,
too.
Stop with
and I
this. You're
want to
36.
highlight that in One Humble Lion, Adrienne Mess, Angela, Kim. I see you, Kim. I'm gonna let you speak next to after One Humble Lion. Thank you for waiting. But I do, I really appreciate that, especially as these characters grow. It's hard, right? It's like, how do we make a character that lives for thousands and thousands of years, quote unquote, grow and teach a next generation? But I really like how you pointed out, Renee, the kind of challenging of this patriarchal or masculine form that we see men, or these masculine characters in, and these heroes, and we show them being vulnerable, being gentle, crying. We see Thor cry a lot. How many times do we see a Marvel person like literally just gently cry over love and be have a longing for like affection, and I think it's really cool, and I think that's why I like Taika. I think it speaks to Taika's artistry and his understanding of like empathy and emotion. And the movie is literally called Love and Thunder. And so I really like, again, y'all know my pillar of what we watch. Welcome. Follow what we watch, film TV. Every fucking movie is a romance. Try me. Try to write something without romance in it. Let me know. It's probably not going to get picked up. No, I'm just kidding. But that is a pillar. And again, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, yeah. And it's romance too that Thor was kind of longing for. And then he gets it and it's immediately stripped away from him. So I really like that you pointed that out, because that, obviously the queerness and all of it. Shout out Tessa. Well, again, 15 minutes for Tessa is coming up soon. But go ahead, One Humble Lion. Welcome.
Thank you. So a lot of my actual sentiments have probably already been said, but I will say for the Gore character, I remember when they were just kind of describing like even the weapon that he had, it was supposed to be kind of infecting him, right, and kind of turning him evil. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings, and how it corrupted Gollum, right? And so now he's kind of like this person of two minds.
Yeah.
I would
And this is
love
a
to.
concept we see a lot, right?
Yeah, I
With the
would have loved to
dark
have seen
magic
that.
for Wanda as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would have loved to have kind of like seen how someone who, originally you're not really evil, but then you're kind of getting infected, like how that actually plays with Gore.
Good point.
And then the other thing, um, again, the stakes just to me weren't that high. Like, and then also with Zeus, I don't really understand kind of like the power dynamics that are going on here because, especially like with the weapons, because Mjolnir can only be picked up by like certain people because of like certain I guess you call it like a spell that's on it, but then like Zeus's thunderbolt, just like any and everybody can hold on to this thing and use it. Like I don't believe that Tessa Thompson's character was strong enough to actually be holding that and carrying it on her back half the movie, right? So I would love to see some evenness there, and I wish to the point of other people have spoken, like, I wish they had done more of, like, the other gods that were in that pantheon that they were in. It's just, like, not all, I get it, like, there are, there's a serious power dynamic between gods and humans, and what they were explaining of, like, gods will always find people to pray to them, right? But not all gods are even like that. Even in Greek mythology, there are a lot of them that are sympathetic to
Correct.
humans, right? Or to lower level people that
Right.
and then I think
Right,
my
because
last
remember, Thor and Co is Asgardians. They not like regular humans either. That's why he was able
right,
to give them. Yeah. So we got to
right.
be clear. Be clear on Thor and his people. Right.
And then yeah, I think the last thing to I'm interested in this conversation about, I guess Thor being more emotive, and how you're supposed to take that, because I actually feel like the
How do you feel?
not necessarily the opposite. I just feel like, when he is crying or when he is showing his emotions, you're also like laughing about it, so you're not really taking it that
Right.
seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I get what Taika's doing, because like obviously it's not the trope that someone who's like large
Right.
and thin and like supposed to be so super masculine is actually this
And that's the issue,
expressive.
right? Because we
Yeah,
expect gods, and again, demographic here, obviously in this space, is different than the audience expected for a Marvel film, right? We
right.
know the demographics change just ever so slightly. Y'all 36. And so I think that that's a good point, though. Like, okay, is it that much of a progression? But I think he's stifled by the fact that, like, we do have this idea that gods, right? Which is why we don't think goddesses, right? Why do we say
Mm-hmm.
goddesses? We think gods should be these powerful, again, omnipotent, no feelings or anything. But most of their stories come from growth, tragedy, feeling things,
Right.
having to fight it, being strong because they was weak at one point. So it's like, how do we incorporate that? Go ahead.
Yeah. And then just lastly, like, I think to that point, it would have been good to have like, I don't know, a more in-depth moment. Like, you just finding out that this woman that you've been in love with well, as long as we've known him, like, is dying of cancer, right? Like, they
Right.
spent like 2 seconds of him being in the hospital next to her, and then he's off again, right? And so
Right.
I just felt like,
We relied a lot
and
on
even though
dialogue in this
they
movie.
even
We
like
did.
pointed that out, and I was just kind of like, okay, so I'm not actually meant to kind of like take this seriously, then, you know.
And I want to, okay. And I appreciate that. It's very interesting. I want to, I'm looking at the
This
tweets up top.
conversation is so fascinating because I think it's like the Taika cut of it was 4.5 hours, so it's so fascinating to hear people
It
say that
sounds
a
like people want the
2 hour movie is
director's cut.
they wanted more.
And we're
Yeah,
not
maybe
getting
it
it.
sounds like
and
we
we're
do,
not
but
getting
we're
it.
not gonna get it.
It sounds
Taika
like
said
people wanted the
himself.
director's cut. And let me let Kim speak. But I want to sit with the question. Y'all know how I am and what we watch. Please tweet it out. Hashtag any thoughts and feelings that you have about this film or the conversation that we're having. Y'all know how I am when I hear people say repeated things. And I don't know what y'all mean, and don't answer yet. I just want to let Kim speak. What do y'all mean when y'all say the stakes aren't high enough? I think y'all just be saying anything. What does that mean? Can someone expound upon the stakes aren't high enough, or the stakes? Like, y'all keep saying the stakes aren't. I don't know.
They want end game level stakes, like get the stones back.
We
That's
want
what they
15
want.
people going through 15. Like that's not what this movie is for. So I do
I
want
don't
somebody
think
to kind of elaborate on that,
Yeah,
and I'll let it.
I can elaborate
No,
after
no, no,
Kim
not
speaks.
yet, not yet.
Yeah,
I want to
after
let
Kim
Kim
speaks.
speak, but and I'll hand it to my co-host. But what do you guys, and those of you in the audience too, like if y'all want to tweet it out, what do you guys actually mean? I'm not gonna let y'all just keep saying this. What do you actually mean when you say the stakes aren't high enough? I want higher stakes. Are you saying that the stakes at this time don't get you committed to the investment in character arcs? Are you saying that you're laughing too much and that's why you don't? Because the stakes are still there even if you're laughing. So I definitely want to like understand why y'all keep saying that because I don't understand that. I fully disagree. I think the stakes are incredibly high. And I think that for a singular movie in a phase 4 that's about Thor and Gore, look at that bars, I think is fantastic. I think the stakes were very well high enough. Honestly,
Well,
I don't know what y'all mean. So let me
I,
let Kim speak. Hold
oh,
on, Humble Lion. We'll sit with it. Raise your hand. But let me let Kim go ahead and speak. And y'all tweeted out hashtag what we watch. When y'all say this about this film or any other film, stakes aren't high enough. What more commitment? What gets y'all committed to high stakes? How do y'all define quote unquote high stakes? Go ahead, Kim.
So good evening, everyone, and thank you for letting me speak. I don't have an answer for that question because I'm very much thinking about it. But I did want to say I liked the movie. I don't think I hated it, but I also feel like my thoughts on it might change when if and when I watch it again. But I did not like the beginning. I was giving a lot of January 6th energy with the Guardians there, and so
Right.
I was
That's
over
a perfect way to describe it. Agreed.
Yes, like they were
Literally
absolutely
perfect.
Right.
on January 6th. I will die on that hill. That's where they were.
Right. The rest of the movie happened January, like whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where they were. That's where the Guardians were. I feel like that scene could have been completely cut out and it would have been a great movie just the same. I think I also agree with everyone where I wish there were more scenes with the God Butcher dude. Especially the scenes where he went to go see I don't know the character's name in the movie, but the one from Game of Thrones that made Stormbreaker. He was supposed to like go to him to like I guess inquire about Stormbreaker, like being able to open the Bifrost. So I wish that was there. I actually wish I think even if they had told us from the beginning that that's what he was after, the Bifrost, to get to eternity. And even if Jane figured it out in that moment that she figured it out, I think it still would have had the same effect, and it would have been, I think, it would have been interesting because they would have been thinking he's trying to kill them, and we all know that he's looking for the Bifrost, and it would have been like kind of fun to watch. So I wish that they actually added those scenes, and then I think he also went to go see the Collector as well. So
God.
all of those scenes would have probably been really good for the movie. And I think the beginning scenes, like I know some people were saying it was funny. I felt like the jokes were a little too forced and it was a little too much. Like I think they weren't able to find that balance in the first half of the movie. And there were people behind me that were cackling so hard. And I turned around and looked at them and said, it's not that funny. And so, they were trying to fight me in there. But the second half of the movie I thought was really good. I enjoyed seeing actually like the kids kind of, especially like Hemdall's kid, being kind of like taking over like the role of his dad, like that his dad used to play. So I actually really enjoyed seeing that. I didn't care to see Jane at all. She always got on my nerves from Thor 1. So the whole movie I've been like, when's she gonna die?
Yeah, like we have like a doctor in the Marvel universe that we're committed to, and
exactly.
it
And
ain't
I prefer
Jane.
Darkseid, so I was girl bye. And but
this is
I
a very
enjoyed seeing.
anti-Jane space. Does anyone
Yeah,
love Jane in this space?
I
Does
did
anyone celebrate and love Jane? Give me a heart or a clap or anything. Anybody love Dr. Jane, Dr. Jodie Foster, Dr. Jane
Yes,
Fonda?
mess.
So
I loved Tessa Thompson. I actually really like her in the role of Valkyrie. And I don't think I necessarily like her too many in other roles like that, but I think it's a really good role for her. And so I always enjoy seeing her. I wish we had more of her, like fighting and all of those things. And I really liked the end, and I liked it even more when I found out that Love was Thor's child, and Chris Hemsworth's daughter in real life. So I thought that was actually really, really cute.
I'm glad they did say that he was like, uncle.
Yeah. Yes, you could have called him. I feel like she should find like another nickname for him or something. I don't know, but I thought it was cute. I wish. I know like one of my friends was like, I don't know this answer, so maybe I'll ask you all who know more than me about these like comics. But when he asked for the wish, couldn't Thor also ask for a wish to like keep Jane alive? I mean, I didn't want him to, but I know one of my friends had that
Didn't
question.
want him to.
And that's all I have. Thank you for letting me
Thank you so
Boy,
much,
that
Kim.
that
And
Jane
those of you
Foster pack
speakers, if
is.
y'all
Whew.
have tweeted about the space, put the tweets up top. Sorry, Henry. But y'all look at this. Those of you in the audience as well, if y'all want to share anything, come up here and be a speaker and share your tweets. I'm dying laughing at Stefan's awful tweet about Jane having cancer would have me sleep for 27 days.
Literally,
But I do still understand the person that said that, like dividing up the movie a little bit, just to kind of get us a little bit more. It wouldn't be about Jane having cancer, but we could sit with Thor and maybe Loki and maybe Gore and maybe, the goats and Korg a little bit more. Isn't it Korg with a K? I think it's with a K.
Yes,
But
Core.
yeah, with a K. I saw someone spell it with the C, is with the K. Go ahead, Tej, and then I'll let everybody. We got some hand ups. Thank you guys for being so patient and listening to everyone. Yeah, go ahead, Tej. I know you got something to say.
Okay, so I'm going to tie in your question before Kim started talking about stakes to something that I've unfortunately realized. And Henry was just touching on it. Henry been spitting bars. I don't know if y'all been listening to him, but he been spitting.
Henry, share your tweets.
Endgame has ruined the discourse around these films. It is absolutely the reason why people say that the stakes are high is because they just saw an event where half of humanity was wiped out, and then we had to see them all come back. But I would say that the stakes in this movie are extremely high, and I think the what the movie doesn't do well, or at least what people are saying the movie doesn't do well, is it doesn't establish how high the stakes are. But they show a scene where they're in the ship with the Guardians and they're seeing the distress signals, and he asks her where are gods, and she says there are no gods. There's no such thing as higher stakes than that. If planets are going without their gods, humanity descends into chaos. Like the stakes are massive. Every time that Gore kills a god, there are whole swarms of human beings that are just sent into literal chaos because their way of life is shaped around religion. Like imagine if in America, like
Talk about it.
God died. Imagine if God died. It would crumble our society. Like it would be the effect on humanity would be it would send us to the dark ages. So like I don't think it's a stake in terms of like there's not much happening in this film, and no matter who wins, it doesn't really matter. If Gore wins, if Gore kills Thor and goes on to kill 50 more gods or 100 more gods or all the gods, humanity is lost. Humanity is cooked. So I don't. It's because that we've seen this big mega event where we thought that, oh shit, half of humanity was at risk, where we like whenever something doesn't have that, our inclination is to say the stakes aren't high. But I think the stakes are much higher in this film than they are in Ragnarok. They're much higher. Like Ragnarok is just about Asgard. This is about every planet ever, every god ever. Like the stakes are 100 times what it was what they were in Ragnarok.
Thank you, Tej. I watch people crumble when the Wi-Fi don't work. The stakes be high when the Wi-Fi don't work. Imagine if you lost your daughter, or you lost the love of your life, or your ex found out, or your current boo found out that you still talking to your ex. Those are extremely high stakes. Those are extremely high stakes. Put yourself in any of those characters' positions. Those are extremely high stakes, guys. So that's why I'm like, and then also I saw some responses to the tweet, and I'm like, here's the thing. We kind of already know that generally speaking, things are going to turn out okay. And I'm going to expound upon the fact that maybe Endgame ruined stuff. It's not the movie. It's the fact that they were willing to end on the disintegration of everyone. They ended the movie there. I think that's what had people shook, because then we had to wait for a little bit. But even then, I'm going to throw in y'all's comment. The stakes weren't high because y'all knew they were coming back. So how were the stakes high there? Because y'all knew people were coming back. So I don't even agree with that kind of, oh, well, we know good things are going to happen. We know someone's going to triumph. That's a common motif throughout this entire film series as is. We know that eventually Thor is going to win. Eventually such and such is going to win. Eventually, shit, the only thing that really is that Tony, we lost my boy Tony, I'm waiting for him to come back. I'm really waiting. But honestly, I don't understand. I think maybe we find better ways than just slapping the stakes aren't high enough on these Marvel films. Or what, again, y'all crumble when the Wi-Fi don't work for 15 minutes. The stakes are pretty fucking high. And to Tija's point, when they said it, and again, I think the criticism around it needing to be a little bit longer, I definitely get it. This movie relied heavily on dialogue and montages and Korg's narrative. Narration. Korg's narration carried this entire film. I get it. But like, I don't know, guys. Stakes were pretty high for what, So thank you though. And I know I see people's hands up to answer that question too. But Mess, you were waiting. Thank you, Mess. Welcome. And then Yami Faye Baker. You can go next. Go ahead.
Yo, thanks for having me. Dope space so far. I love the film. It was very entertaining, and I enjoyed it, and it was fulfilling. I'm gonna answer your question first. The stakes, what would have made the stakes higher would have been a high level kill, right? So Gore, like there was nobody, and Zeus even said he was like, yeah, he killed those little guys. We don't care. Had he killed someone that was on the equivalent of Thor's level, then I think that would have shown like, yo, like this is for real. I think that's where people. I think that's probably the one thing where I could see like, yeah, like show him going through like really killing, right?
So y'all want more. Y'all want more death and destruction and pain on screen. Got it.
Yeah, because that would have been
okay. So y'all are crazy. Cool.
Yes,
just like
absolutely.
me. Y'all are just like me.
I would have liked
read
that. Maybe I'm crazy.
So that's where the stakes aren't high enough. So let's just start saying that, not the stakes aren't high enough. Show me more death and destruction on screen.
Right. So I actually read the series. So I actually read the series, right? The Gore series in the comics, which is amazing. It was like I was so happy when they said they were going to put this in the film because this was like one of the best Thor stories, period. And a lot of that was about faith. It was really about like humanity, like finding its faith and God's needing humanity, needing us to power themselves. And by Gore going through killing all the gods, it was like, yo, like now it was that dynamic was flipped. And so by the end, like it took 3 Thors to kill Gore. Like that's how powerful he was. But
exactly.
also like the Jane Foster story because she had cancer and she got sick and she became Thor, and she absolutely kicked ass in the comics, and she died because the god power was too much for her, and it wasn't curing the cancer, it was speeding it up. So combining these two stories was dope in my opinion, because it also gave us that closure with Thor and Jane. Like y'all hated Jane, but I loved her because like Thor said, like it was his whole story has been about his worthiness. And that's through the comics, that's through these movies. For him, his worthiness was falling in love with Jane and her showing him that he was worthy to be more than just this, arrogant, fighting, warmongering God. He was worthy to be loved. And he was worthy of love and worthy to give love. And so for him to have not had like find the love of his life, like, yeah, this guy's been alive for millennia and he finds this one woman that he loves, and then she's gone because they've drifted apart, and then the snap, like that messed him up, right? And then here she comes back and she's got his hammer and she looked like him and he's like, what's going on? And so for them to get that closure and for them to be like, yo, I love you too, we love each other, that's fantastic. She's absolutely going to come back because we know that's what's going to happen, and that's also what happened in the comics. So it was a dope closure piece for them on that love side.
I like that.
And I think the thing that the the hammer and the axe, like John, like the axe had an axe to grind. Like I thought that was a Taika like in joke the whole time. Like this axe had an axe to grind because he was jealous of Moyona all day, and it was like, yo, like this is such a fucking obvious joke. And then just like the comedy, I think people didn't really understand. I think people I forgot the movie where he was the Hitler movie where he was like
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit, right? So if you watch Jojo Rabbit, you got
it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah, like this was it. Like you got it. And I don't think that like a lot of people were not
it's quintessential Taika for sure.
His comedy is an acquired taste for sure.
Right, exactly. So there were pieces like I was laughing. Like I can't remember the last time I was actually laughing like in a movie. Like every time the goats yelled, every time it was just, and for them to really pull in so many elements from the comic books that
Yes.
that were authentic, right? Like you knew, like
Exactly. They were
like
real. They were genuine. Right.
right. It wasn't like they was making shit up. Like even with going to the pantheon of gods, like that's exactly what Thor did. He went to the pantheon of gods to figure out like what's going on with this Gore, but this
Right.
time with what Zeus said, like, and Zeus wasn't even there. All the gods were pretty much dead, and they were hiding. But Taika flipped it. They weren't hiding. They were hiding in the pantheon of gods because, like Zeus said, they can't Gore can't figure out how to get here, so we're safe. We don't have to worry
Right.
about him. And so, it's like it's these little things that when you're listening, you're reading the story. Obviously, like again, having read the comics, like understanding it a little bit better, I got more of enjoyment of it. I'll land here by just saying that one of the things I saw, which was super interesting. Um, well, I'll take it back. What the thing that people I feel are really missing is that when Iron Man started, first Iron Man, first Thor, first Captain America, like there is a build up to get to Avengers. There's a build up to get to Endgame, right? Like we're at that first level of movies, a first level of shows. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be that build up again, but people are so like, yo, I want that excitement already. I want to get to level 10. It's like, fam, like it took us 12 years to get to that. So
Right.
let this
And
let them play
and
this.
I don't know if you were in earlier, but Brandon kind of talked about that too. Bam earlier in the space was talking about that as well. So yeah, good
I,
point.
I missed that. But yeah, because I was at Trader Joe's, but just
Perfectly
enjoy
reasonable.
just enjoy what you got,
Agreed.
what you're doing. Just enjoy it and
Agreed.
just be like, all right, what's coming next? And we know that it's Secret Wars is where we're going to end. And so,
Right. Young Avengers, Secret Wars,
Young
all that good.
Avengers and love is
Exactly.
right. And just the last point, love is going to be so in the comics, eternity, the eternity sometimes creates a champion, right, to like help the
Mm.
universe. And
Mm.
so love is potentially going to be that champion that Eternity created. So when we get to Secret Wars, she's going to be helping with the incursions and trying to stop and trying to
Right.
keep this in. But also because the first gods are the ones who created the universes. So there's this. They started the incursions in the comics. The makers they started incursion comics. So do we see that
Clap,
now that
clap if you
Gore?
know what incursions are, and peace sign if you don't. Mess. Just real quick, I want to make sure the audience is tapped in. Cl- Clap if you know what the incursions are in the universe, and peace sign if not. It's a little heart with the plus sign at the bottom, just so we're clear. Do we know what
Yeah,
incursions are? Click the heart with the plus and clap or peace. Okay.
yeah. So
Kang.
we
We got some
so
people. Quickly, can you define the incursion?
so
Just real
the
quick. Tell us what
yep.
incursion is.
So incursions when two universes are coming together and colliding,
Mhm.
which is going to result in one universe being destroyed. So what you see with the gods now with Zeus, now
Completely
he's
obliterated.
completely.
And you
So
saw
now
that
you
in Doctor Strange, guys. If you watched
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness or you haven't, you'll see that in that incursions happening. It's some real multiversal shit. But go ahead.
right,
But in Doctor
and you
Strange, they
also
said
see it.
universes get destroyed.
What'd you say, Kim?
In Doctor Strange, they said both universes get destroyed with the incursion.
Both of them. Okay.
Yeah, and
If
you
not at
also
least
kind of
one.
saw it. You also kind of saw it in Miss Marvel too. Spoiler alert.
There you go.
Yep.
So now with these gods, now with Zeus being like, yo, now he's on a rampage, that's potentially going to trigger a bigger response. So I feel like
Exactly.
yo, just
Sounds like
just
the stakes
enjoy
are
this.
very high to me,
Yeah.
personally.
So just enjoy the enjoy the show.
Thank you guys. I do think that I don't know. I kind of am against the acquired taste label, Henry, but I get what you're saying because I think someone else was talking about making it cringe earlier, and I like the definition that Renee used. Like the laugh almost escapes you, and that's what happens when like things are cringe or maybe too cringe. You're like, oh god, and you start laughing just kind of to let the awkwardness out. So I enjoy that, and so maybe if you don't enjoy that, you might not enjoy this film or many of Taika's films. Honestly, he's definitely very cringe. I mean, he kind of employed children to work in labor. Like that scene with Thor giving them powers, children were laboring. But it was like it was done in such a creative way, and we know we're not humans, they're Asgardians. And so there's different, applications to that. And saying orgy in a quote unquote quote unquote children's film 3 times. It's like, and I'm in my head thinking, I'm like, damn, can we say that? But I'm like, really, kids shouldn't know what orgies are. I mean, I didn't learn that until much later in life, honestly. So it was just he chose that line of cringe so much. And since
Wait, you
I
didn't learn what
thrived,
until later?
what orgies were, sir. I know y'all 36. I'm a little bit younger. I just got it, a little late in life. Um, but so I think when you told that line of cringe and kind of craziness with Taika, like Renee said, the laugh for me kind of escaped. And if you don't thrive in chaos and awkwardness like I do, I love it. I love when people feel uncomfortable. That's where we learn and we grow and we expand outside of our realms and we learn more about each other and ourselves. I fucking love it. So I love when Taika does it. But yeah, Mess, thank you for that. That was very, very lovely. Those of you in the audience, have y'all seen Jojo Rabbit? I asked this earlier. I just want to know. Hopefully we've convinced you. I would like, if you DM me or at what we watch, let me know if you watch Jojo Rabbit and tell me how you feel about it. I'm fully prepared for mixed reviews, but it is, once again, there may be some slightly cringe moments, but it's a beautiful rendition of a story. And I think maybe my co-host, I can't remember, did y'all like that movie? I know one of y'all didn't like it. I can't remember. Did one of
I
y'all not
did
like
not, but I only saw it once, and I love Taika so much, and I love his other films so much. So I'm gonna go back and watch it because everybody, well, not everybody. There are other people who didn't like the film, but I,
Yeah.
I, I think it was the in group of it. I was in a theater literally full of white people, and I was just like, I don't know when I'm supposed to laugh. I felt extremely uncomfortable. I just felt so.
And that's what he do. You feel like almost guilty laughing sometimes. You're like, am I supposed to laugh at this? Okay, I'm gonna laugh. Yami, thank you so much for waiting. Go ahead.
Hi, and it's Jen, just so you don't feel like
Jen,
you
thank
have to
you.
call me Yami.
Whatever y'all want me to call you, I can only see the names, but welcome, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I loved this movie, so I'm gonna start there. I felt like some of the earlier speakers were a little bit unfair in discussing the previous Thor movies and how, like, oh, it should have been ended after the first one because, like, he wasn't worthy. Boop, now he's worthy. And I think that's really disingenuous to the other films. Like, if you think The Dark World is a throwaway, I don't really feel any type of way about that. But Ragnarok was really important to his story, and Infinity War plus Endgame. Like, we really saw how the impact of losing his planet, losing his parents, getting his eye gouged out by the sister he didn't even know he had. Like, there was a lot of growth, and I didn't like how in Endgame they kind of played his depression for laughs. But on the other hand, that shit happens in real life.
I was
Like,
gonna say,
I
who's
mean,
among us?
it's
Jen,
very true
who's
to life.
among us?
You gain weight for what people think is no reason, they start making fun of you. So again, I felt like it was very
It's one
true
of
to
those
life.
right, agreed.
Yeah.
It's
And
just the application of comedy that might make people a little bit uncomfortable. It's like, okay, can we laugh? This is a thing? Are we making light of jokes that shouldn't be? Right.
and to that point, I felt like I really liked what Taika did with the Asgardians in general. Because when you think about it contextually and take a step back, these people lost their whole planet plus half their population. And yes, they've had this opportunity to kind of rebuild, but they're doing fucking, sorry, I don't know if y'all can cuss in here, but they're doing like Old Spice commercials, and it's so kitsch and it's so like,
Right.
it's depressing. Like, at first you see it and you're kind of like, oh, I guess they're doing what they can to get by. But when you think about where they've come from to how they've been devolved to an ice cream store named after the Infinity Stones, like playing that kind of stuff for
And
laughs.
he was
Yeah,
like making fun of politicians and people of power with that too. Really,
absolutely. Because
it was really poignant to me.
the
But that's
people
not
in
the first
real
time they
life are a little bit
degraded the Infinity
close.
Stones.
I'm sorry. Hold on, let me. What'd you say, Kim?
I was just saying quickly, like that's not the first time they've kind of degraded the Infinity Stones to nothing. Like in the Loki show, they had them as like paperweights.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead. Go ahead, Yami. Thank you, Kim.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just saying, like, yes, I get the comedy aspect of it, and I can see why some people might think that it's undermining how absolutely dark and devastating what they've been through is, but I just didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Take a second look and be like, yeah, at first glance, it's like, oh, they've turned it into a little tourist trap. But then when you think about it, that's really sad. Do you remember what Asgard looked like?
Hello. Again, y'all need to revisit some. Agreed, agreed. And I'm with you, and I'm with Mess as well. Just kind of like, guys, I wanted to kind of have a good time. There's a lot of films out there. Welcome to What We Watch. Tune into our newsletter if you want to think and feel and have a deep, kind of contemplation on character developments and what's going on.
Go watch
There's,
Dune and go to sleep
I
in the
got
movie
you.
theater.
I was gonna
Okay,
say go watch.
okay. I wouldn't ever recommend Dune in that matter. Thank you, Tej.
Great for sleep.
But here's the thing, and I'm not making fun of it. I got you. I was made fun of as like, well, you like, and people think that people that are into film and da 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 are so pretentious, and oh, you guys look into everything. I do. But like, I also know when a movie is just supposed to be fun, and I love a fucking fun movie. I love it. I love a simple story. I love a straightforward trajectory. I love when the transformation is kind of just, yeah, he's worthy and then he's unworthy than he is. Well, sure, whatever. Do I want more of the backstory? Do I want to contemplate? Do I want to read 5 articles about it? Probably not. But in other films too, and so follow What We Watch. I got you. Trust me, I got you. If you want that kind of backstory and commitment to some films, I got you. But I agree with you fully, Jen. I had a good time. I think it was a good time, and I don't know if I fully agree with the devolving. I don't know if you were saying it. Correct me if I'm wrong. The devolving of Asgard was extremely poignant to me. It was like, and we haven't talked enough about Tessa. We haven't celebrated Tessa, my Panamanian beautiful queen. She looked fucking good in this movie, guys. She looked fucking hot. Okay, she looked the fuck good. Let's celebrate hot black bisexual woman. Okay, she looked the fuck good, and I love that they called her a king. That was awesome. That's great.
Devolve as in like they just stopped caring. I'm just saying like,
yeah, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Big events that they've experienced have led them to this path, and it's okay to acknowledge that, but I don't know that I want to get beat over the head with it either.
Exactly.
It's there, and it's definitely there if you're paying attention and looking for it, but that's not really why I wanted to see this movie.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I enjoyed it because it seems like people were quote unquote happy. The person that wasn't happy was Tess. She was like, "Oh, it's just a bunch of Raven mail." I thought that was hilarious. She was like, in meetings that could have been Raven mail. So I think they did a good balance of like, oh, look. And then when Thor tried to come in and speak, everyone was like, who is this nigga? What is he doing? Okay, he don't know what he doing. He don't know how to run Asgard. That's why I'm in charge. So they kind of played with that a little bit. Who was next? I think it was Ed Dubs, and then Angela, then Jess. Go ahead, Carl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, for those who've gotten late, I'm his twin. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to comment on. A lot of people made a lot of good points. I think I want to start with just as to piggyback on your last point about really just understanding the intention of every film and how it fits into the bigger universe. We watch a film and we enjoy it for, what it is. And for those who are comic book nerds and stuff like that, like I just recently got into comics, big movie buff. I'm a director, I'm a writer, I'm an actor. So, movies galore, but I'm just getting into comics to really understand how those true stories kind of get interpreted in, these cinematic movies. But I think we got to just figure out a way to just enjoy what we give or what we get rather. And I think one of my guys made a good point about just enjoying the ride. It took like a decade to get to that that just cliff of Endgame and then leaving it there. And now this is a whole universe getting reset. So we really just got to ride. We got to really just ride the wave. I want to say that I personally enjoy Thor's evolution. We talked about him exploring his masculinity and portraying it in different ways, and how it could just like what is a man? Like what is a man? Like what defines a man? I think Thor, Chris Hemsworth's performance, and just the evolution of his performance and just the evolution of his character is the perfect just staple to kind of show what men in general got to go through, like exploring emotions or being that protective soul, like what what I mean, like we really got to give our hats off to, especially what he's been given. What I mean, like if you look at Thor from day one Thor to now, every character that was placed in his life has had some kind of impact. Just like as you said, Peach, about how every artist, director, or writer will have an impact on shaping that character. So I think given what Chris Hemsworth has had to deal with, I think he's made the most out of it. If anything, he's probably done the best job at it. and he's probably had the most evolution out of everyone. We're talking about Thor 1, born into this greatness and this worthiness, or trying to discover his worthiness, and just
Right.
being a battle god. And like even in Avengers, he still wasn't that like funny geeky guy. Like it took going on an adventure with Guardians of the Galaxy, or him showing some more vulnerability with Jane and his romance, to really kind of be more humanized, right? Because he was still looked at as a god, like over his
And he is
transition.
God, yeah.
And he is a
Mhm.
god, right? But I mean, looking at it from an audience standpoint, we want to sympathize with him. And I think we kind of look at him as half god, half human when we see him dating in New York, or eating pizza, or watching a movie with Jane, or having coffee. And think about the scene when he first got to a bar in like what, Thor 1 or Thor 2. He
Right.
drinks the beer, he just smashes the freaking glass on the
That was
floor. Like
hilarious.
he has no food etiquette. So we really got to just give our flowers to see how his performance has really just created an impact, and how everyone in his life, the characters, created impact, and really just like appreciate all the evolution that he's gone to go through, and how Taika Waititi was able to be the perfect match for Chris Hemsworth's character in Thor,
I
to
agree with
really
you.
just reinvent Thor. And we just
And
got to enjoy the ride of this balance between dark and comedy.
And honestly, whomst among us, guys? Think about it. If you were a god and everybody always looking at you as a god and god this and
Yeah.
god, sometimes you want to kind of, damn, I just want to chill out.
You know what I'm
Damn, I
saying?
just want to
And I,
feel some shit. I just want to walk around with you guys. I
and
imagine
that's a
it's
great
how
point.
Beyonce feels. Like, damn,
I
okay,
mean,
I
the
just want to.
tagline for the movie is "Not all gods have a plan." So
You know,
Yeah, like that's kind of exhausting being in power. Spoiler alert: Eternity chose me as a champion. I'm already
yeah.
exhausted.
Speaking
It's
from
like I get
experience,
it.
it's pretty exhausting.
as a former street
That's
nigga,
hilarious.
Oh
Shut
And
God.
your
like,
mouth.
As a chosen champion myself, I
that's
can tell
funny.
you guys, it gets very exhausting. I empathize
Don't kill me.
fully. Ashley, I know
Yeah.
you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
Woo.
I
Um, Damn. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. When I first walked into the movie, and when it was starting, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching right now.
A lot of
I,
people feel that. Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
January
like,
6th.
where my people at? Like, what's going on here? So there was that. I want to just step out because I know that I think it was Jess who made the comment about how we had all these different stories that were going on, and how it would have been nice to have some backstory on Jane. I will just say lovingly that I completely disagree. If they had spent any time going into here's what shows that Jane is worthy, and here's a montage of Jane turning into Thor, I'd be like, don't nobody give a fuck about that shit. I have no investment in Jane as a character. She's just kind of there.
I
Congrats
think that's
to her.
why he was comfortable making fun of her name, Jodie Foster, or whatever
Yeah,
the fuck her
it's
name
like
is,
who
Jane
like
Fonda, whatever,
we
Jane.
we don't care. And when
I'm
she
here to
like
tell you right now,
we do
we
not care.
don't care. Go
Um,
ahead.
and when they're like, oh, there's she's the Thor that comes up, I'm just like, all right, okay, cool, whatever. I don't, whatever. Gore, fantastic, loved him. What I will say, and it's kind of interesting, on one hand, when we're discussing like all the gods, it's we talk about how if all the gods were dead, that it would create this huge impact, which I believe and agree with. But on the other side, part of the storyline is the fact that the gods don't actually care and they're not actually doing anything. And so there's this kind of this twist where it's like, if all the gods were killed, then what? I mean, obviously there are some worlds where it would matter and where it would have an impact, but I feel like that was a big part of it. And as we talk about it, even from a religious standpoint in general, like I think about how if we were to discuss like, is God alive? Is God dead? But when we talk about how in religion, what makes religion so difficult or what makes it so powerful is just regular people who are saying, well, this is happening because of this God.
Right.
So, really, would people even know that the gods aren't there, that they're not powerful anymore, that they're all dead? And on the other side, someone brought up about Zeus and how they're like, they didn't necessarily love how he was portrayed. And I
Right.
get that, also valid. On the flip side of that, though, when I think about the stories that we would read about Zeus, when I was in school, it was like a bunch of time like he was powerful, but he was also like he was known for trying to get his dick wet, just a little spicy, a little crazy.
And so it wouldn't be completely crazy to me to see Zeus is like, oh, he's kind of gotten older. He like, he out here trying to talk about some orgies or whatever. He just trying to party. He's like, what's up, guys? We all safe here. I'm just trying to have a good time. So I wasn't surprised when, Zeus is kind of in some ways like not a joke, but kind of a joke. He's just having fun. So there was that angle of it to where, while I understand how it was like, that's kind of disrespectful how y'all did Zeus, I also get, I found the movie to be incredibly entertaining. There are a lot of things that as I was sitting back listening to y'all talk, I was like, damn, I completely forgot that happened. I completely forgot that.
Yes.
So the whole, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, I like when that whole scene was happening, I kind of forgot that actually happened at all in the movie. And
I think this is, do we feel like, in the, clap if you agree, peace sign if you don't, is this worth a second watch? I feel like it is.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, just
I think as soon as it hits HBO or Disney, try them there.
Of
Because
course.
I watch Ragnarok a lot. I've watched Ragnarok at least 7 times.
I'd watch it as long as I don't have to like pay for it. Like I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not paying like $20 to see it again.
Oh my God, I'm going. Oh, go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh no,
Wait.
Totally separate conversation.
Like, I'm not paying $20 to watch it at home. Thank you, but no thank you. But it was the movie as a whole was very entertaining, very cool, and I think on one hand, the stakes were high to a degree, but on the other hand, when I'm thinking about the purpose, like what Gore was saying, as far as your gods don't care about you, your gods, like
he was spitting. What you mean?
Well, I mean, like, and this was the point I was saying, where it's like, if the gods aren't actually doing anything, if the gods aren't actually listening to the people, if the gods don't care about the people that are praising them or giving them, all their, their tithes, or
which is what ended up happening. That's how the movie ended. He didn't convince anybody, right?
Yeah. Like, then if they were to die, then what? If they weren't doing anything anyway, if they're just sitting there kind of waiting to have their next orgy, what then? Like,
Well,
Hoops Among Us.
Arguably, people that are praising gods in real life are also doing that for thousands of years, and arguably those gods are doing
that's
nothing either.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I'm like, it's basically the exact same thing as what we're dealing with right now. Like, if you talked about it from a Christianity standpoint, whether or not you believe in God, so much when people talk about, like, I love your Christ, but I don't like your Christians. The people who are actually in power, they are the ones that are kind of motivating or kind of pushing whatever narrative they think is supposed to be happening. So
this was grim as hell. No,
yeah,
Gore was spitting.
It's welcome to life. Welcome to life.
Yeah, no, I'm getting up to y'all's age. I get it. It's very grim. It's very
grim.
Do
that. No, don't do that.
I do that just for you. You be like, bitch.
Baby, I'm not even that old, okay? I mean, I'm not 36, so let's not play that game for sure. But I think that hits on everything that I wanted.
Thank you so much. That was perfect. Thank you, Ashley. I love how you disagree. You made me tweet it. I love how we disagree in this space. Erin hasn't spoken, so I'm gonna let her speak, and then I'll let everybody else. Seems like a repeat. So, Angela, I got you. Jess, One Humble Line. Welcome, Erin. How are you?
Hey, love. Well, thank you. I was just going to sit here and listen, and I wasn't going to say anything. And I have to, adultish Gambino, I'm sorry, I disagree with every single word you said, dear. Respectfully. But that's was like, I need to raise my hand just for a quick second, because I think a lot of.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Go on, say your piece.
No. First of all, I welcome.
That's Aaron the God Butcher.
Yo, actually came up just to disagree with me, adultery. So it's fine. We gonna get through it.
We welcome disagreements in what we watch. We welcome it.
Mo can probably tell you. I asked to speak in the middle of you speaking, and raised my hand.
Sure did. We welcome disagreement. So go ahead.
Look,
go ahead, Aaron.
Respectfully, because
respectfully. There's no conversation without a little bit of dissension and disagreement. Go ahead.
Right, of course. But the only reason why I actually wanted to say this, because I was actually tweeting about it this morning, was that I actually looked at an article that was written, and it said, in this MCU Phase 4, we are now 55 hours deep worth of content between movies and series, and we're still kind of like oh, we're going to ride it out, and we're going to kind of see where it goes. And you know what? We've been spoiled, with the first
Y'all sure
MCU
have.
phases.
Y'all
But
sure
that's the
have.
thing. A lot of people are looking at MCU not as phases, but like MCU BE before Endgame or AE after Endgame. There were three phases that got us to Endgame. If you
Exactly.
compare phase 4 with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you will see phase 4 is very mid. We have gotten 6 movies, we have gotten 7 series, and they are still promising us another 6 series and another, what, 5 or 6 more movies within phase 4 already. We have
But the stakes aren't high
already,
enough. The stakes aren't high enough. Okay.
exactly, and that's my point, is that you're comparing before Endgame 3 phases to one phase that we are currently in that has given us so much content and a lot of mid shit.
And
It's mid in the other phases now too. Now let's not start being
It
honest.
is. It is.
speak
It's
on
mid.
it.
It is mid. It's very mid, especially phase
Y'all are so
3. Oh no, I'm
funny.
sorry, phase 2. Phase 2 was mid as shit. But we also didn't get 6 damn series in those mids either, where we had to sit there week after week watching mid shit.
Phases 1, 2, and 3 were pretty much all movies.
Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm looking at you. All I'm saying is like
The movie was good. It was a good movie.
but
Oh
Falcon
no, I'm
Winter
Bucky
sorry.
and
Soldier
No,
was
I'm
the
Bird.
thinking.
series.
I'm thinking Winter Soldier, not the series. No, awful. Red Wing was the best thing in that whole series.
And
Red
that's what
Wing.
I'm saying. It's like I
Yeah,
think
awful.
you're looking at before Endgame, and you're looking at all the content, all the movies that we got before Endgame that got us
Right.
to Endgame, and you're comparing it to everything we've gotten since Black Widow to today, and it's like it's kind of hard to compare because, again, like I said, 55 hours worth of content that we've gotten to today, and a lot
It's
of that,
great to quantify that.
half of it really hasn't been worth it. We've gotten good stuff. Like, I've actually liked Black Widow. I love Thor. By the way, this is a Thor Love and
Great.
Thunder.
Yes.
I love
Thank
Thor.
you.
I actually loved it. I was entertained. I thought
Taste.
it was fun. I thought it was great. And I don't want. And then the other thing that I didn't agree with is like humanizing Thor. I don't want to humanize Thor. He is a god. He is not a human. What I liked about Thor, and the thing that he actually has had since the first Avengers movie, even when he made like little quips with Loki, he always had like a comedic kind of, he always had I think his relation to human is, he's kind of trying to understand us. He's almost like, oh, you puny human, I'm
And
just
that,
looking to laugh at you, and but I'm a
and
god,
you
I'm
prefer
still a
that
god.
to,
Right.
because
And I
again, and
love,
Henry brought that up, right? Henry, I think it was you. The tagline was "Gods don't always have a plan." So it's interesting
right.
that you say that humanization, and like it seems like it's binary for you. Like you're either a god or a human, and it's like, well, sometimes I am a god, right? So it's interesting that you have an issue with it, right? And those of you in
I
the
think
audience,
he's
you get what
always a god, and he will always be a god. I think he finds
pleasure or
relation and entertainment in humans. I
got it,
think he
which is
I
cool.
think he's entertained with us, and he finds us funny,
So
and
do you
he's
like
like,
it or not?
"Oh, I love it.
Okay, good, good,
I
good,
do
good, good.
love it, but
Okay,
I
so
just
we're
don't
aligned.
I
Okay,
don't like the term of humanizing a god, because
agreed.
he's a god. He's a god. He's literally, you can't just be
But
a
I
god and then almost like water him down and be like, okay, maybe not. Like, he kind of got a beer gut and a dad bod, and he wants to drink beer. He's still a fucking god, though.
right. And I think that that's good. And I think the movie did a great balance of reminding you
It
that at
did.
all times he's a god, right? And that's what
Exactly. He's a
yeah, I don't think
god.
I used the term humanizing. Maybe somebody did, but definitely, you know, vulnerable. Gods can be vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
They don't have plans, or they don't have plans, right? The tagline. Thank you for bringing that up, Henry. So thank you, Aaron. Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're about to hear from someone that didn't like the film. So let's go ahead and give Angela the floor. Oh, goodness. Oh, brother.
She about to start hating.
Okay.
Our resident gripe guy. We always have one. You get the stamp today, Angela. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the, oh, why am I talking to my phone like that? I was gonna say one of the few scenes I did enjoy was when Christian Bale was like, when he was talking to Tessa Thompson, and he was like, "Oh, remember when the gods let you down and all your best friends died?" and yet you're fighting for them. Like, I was like, give up, sis. Just go to his
He
side.
barred her ass
Like,
up.
Yo, those bars in the Shadow Realm. Yo, he had me thinking like, damn, okay, damn, this is a good point. If you're trying to get me to join the dark side, this is how you talk to me, okay? This
Points
is a
were
good
being
start.
made.
This is a good start. Go ahead, Angela.
Also, like, the portrayal of Zeus, like, Zeus is a known asshole. So, like, I didn't that wasn't, even though, like, Russell Crowe, I'm like, come on, man. Like, I don't know if that's just
Right,
how
very
Australian
different.
people talk, trying to mimic Greek people, but I was
Right.
like, I would be offended if I was Greek. But no, like, yeah, Zeus is a noted asshole in Arabis in mythology. So, like, I was like,
Exactly.
okay, this makes sense. But no, when Christian Bale was like, where were the gods when your sisters and your lovers were dying and shit like that? I was like, damn. I was like,
bars.
Leave Thor, sis. But yeah, besides that, still.
Angela, look, we got the gripe guy to say one thing they liked about the film. Claps all around. Love that. Thank you, Angela. And it was a gore scene, and I love that. Kip's big boy, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hey guys, there's a couple of things that I keep hearing about this, who complain about the movie. I loved it. Tej and I have had some back and forth about this. If you were expecting a serious superhero movie, what were you not paying attention to during the entire lead up to this film? Because every trailer, every commercial, every leak, every spoiler, everything that got put out there in the lead up to this movie told you this was going to be mostly comedy. It just was. And if anything you've ever seen Taika Waititi do, by the way, anybody in this room who has never seen What We Do in the Shadows, not the TV show, the movie.
Correct.
Oh my God.
You joined a little bit late, but we got you. We got you covered.
Yeah,
We definitely
okay.
brought it up. You're good. We got you. Reiterate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what people were expecting going into this movie. It was going to be comedic based. And I loved every minute. Do I wish it would have been about 10, 15 minutes longer so we could have gotten more of Christian Bale and Gore? Absolutely. Yep. Because his character was great. He played it great, and we could have used more of him.
Absolutely.
But for if you were paying attention at all, everything that was being put out there about what this movie was going to be was what you got. And so this is why I don't understand what a lot of the criticisms are. Were there tons of jokes? Yes. The love triangle joke that was going on throughout 2/3 of the movie had me in tears.
I'm telling you.
Between Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, and Thor. That's hilarious stuff. I don't understand why people thought that this was going to be something serious.
Let me tell you why. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying enjoy it for what it is, and don't get mad because it wasn't something that you wanted it to be.
Here's what it is. I'm okay with everyone being mad. You can be mad. We justify anger here. It's what drives a lot of villains, rage and stuff. So you can be mad. Here's the thing. Here's what's happening, Jacob. I'm glad you formed this so I could finally say this. Here's what's happening. Generally speaking, when you see trailers or storyline for any other film, you just don't watch it. If you don't like the genre, if you don't like the director, if you don't like what they did the last 3 times in a certain character's, arc in over whatever many films, you don't watch the film. But guess what, Jacob? People don't ever want to stay out of a conversation regarding a Marvel film.
Well, that's very true.
Just to be a part of the conversation, they're going to watch it. And then to be a part of the conversation, they're going to say how much they hate it. But I'm glad that you shaped it that way because, like you said, in every other form and every other thing, they told you this movie was going to be this. If you don't like that
Ragnarok,
they did. They did. So
and this was just a continuation of that.
And if you don't like this kind of movie, then don't watch it. Just like any other thing. You don't like horror? You don't watch horror? You don't like rom-coms? You don't watch rom-coms. You don't like, whatever supernatural, you don't watch. You don't like sci-fi? You don't watch Interstellar. But people do not want to not watch a Marvel film. And this is what I wanted to say, a larger thing. And I'll let you finish, Jacob. But for better or for worse, Marvel has created this monopoly. And for better or for worse, every film does not stand on its own. And I say for better that sometimes, that means that we get more. Oh, we get the post-credit scenes. Oh, more is coming from this. Oh, we know that this can shift. Oh, we know that these stones exist, so anything can change. Oh, we know Kang exists. Oh, we saw this TV show. That's the for better, right? So we kind of don't have to be, we know that the end of a movie isn't really the end of anything. But then for worse, it's like, okay, well, I'm in the midst of all of these other storylines and what's coming next. And so for better or for worse, this is the cinematic universe, guys. The stories are going to continue. Everyone's going to get their films. Every character you commit whenever you want. But that's why we keep hearing people say they don't like a movie when they know what the fuck the movie was going to be, because they don't want to not be a part of the conversation. You can't miss this movie because you watched The Secret Wars and you asked a question and we're going to be like, didn't you watch Thor Love and Thunder? There was a thing here that told you this. And now you look silly. So that's why, Jacob.
We also live in an era of hate watching. Like,
very much so.
People
very
devote
much so.
a lot of time to watching shit they don't like just to be
Angela.
Not you name calling. Not you calling folks out.
The one other thing I'll say about this is with Thor in and of himself, this is the direction that the Thor character has been getting taken for multiple movies now, even before Taika took over in Ragnarok. This direction, it's been a little slow at times, but this is the progression of the character. And they just fully embraced it now in the last 3 movies that Thor has been a primary character in. They just fully embraced that side of him. And I love it, not only just from a viewing standpoint, but I think Chris Hemsworth has been phenomenal in portraying this character that way.
I agree. I think, Renee, you and I were speaking about this. Chris Hemsworth is a comedian, sweetie. And we're going to have to acknowledge him as such.
No problem leaning into that.
He's funny. He's
sometimes
a funny
you got
guy.
to accentuate somebody's strengths. Like, Chris Hemsworth is funny as shit, and they leaned
He's
into
a funny person. He's great. Right. Agreed. Fully. So thank you for that, Jacob. And Chinedu. And we're going to, again, last 15 minutes is all about Tessa. So ramp it up. Get your Tessa bars ready.
I need more Tessa and more Natalie together in my life. Thank you.
Perfect. Chinedu, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hi.
The first thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna keep saying it, is I don't know if y'all talked about it or not, but at what point are they gonna address the celestial that's sticking out of the earth? Still waiting for a Marvel movie to speak on that.
What's the name again? I know what you're talking about.
We don't address Eternals in here.
Airship.
Airship. Thank you, Cheech. Shanetta, you want an Airship movie?
A what movie?
Do you want that's Airship? You want the Airship movie?
No, I'm good on that. Good on that.
So how do you want them to address it?
I don't. They can do like an overview, like somebody's watching TV, and the celestial. Like nobody has said. Like I just want them to acknowledge that it's sticking out of the earth.
Fair enough.
That's it. It's a big.
By the
thing.
way, this thing is here. Here's why.
You said
Hold on,
what?
let me let Chinedu speak. Go ahead, Chinedu. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, Chinedu.
Chinedu, perfect.
But outside of that, man, I really thoroughly enjoyed Thor ever since he took over. I've been loving it. It really felt like that was Marvel's first rom-com. I was confused about the Christian Bale as Gore because of how great of an actor he is. I'm like, and the way they kind of treated his character, he was just kind of like in the background. At no point did he feel like a threat. At no point did they ever struggle. It felt like. I
was gonna say a lot of people echoed your sentiments, but I don't know. You went a little too far there. I don't know. But I see what you're saying, and maybe you felt very strongly about it.
No, I didn't mind it at all because I really don't feel like it was. Whenever he was telling the story, it wasn't about Gore. Because I mean, he could have killed Tessa towards that end to make him seem like, oh, this dude is not playing around. But at no point did he even. I don't even think he really even cut Thor at any point.
Can we be honest? you bring up a good point. Here's the thing. I definitely thought Tessa was gone. I'm glad she isn't. I'm glad Taika know better than that. You keep my bisexual king in there, period. That's number one. Okay. She did almost die twice. But let's talk about Jane for a second. Why didn't he clap her? Right? Sinead,
That
doesn't she had cancer? She was surviving being choked by some Shadow Realm vines for a
that's
very long time. I was like, dang, she's really good at breathing.
He
Those
knew
are
that
she
those are
wasn't a
good
god.
breathing
That's why.
exercises. She was Thor, right? But I was
but
like,
that but that's just kind of what I'm saying. That he didn't
right.
actually ever feel like he was just more of an obstacle to lead to the creation of I think her name is Love. Um, I just the whole thing with giving the hammers emotions, like he really wanted to circle back to that old thing, and I was like, yo, this is fucking hilarious. And I think he ended up using
Who's
the
among
hammer at
us?
the very end. He went back to the hammer.
He went back to
He
Mjolnir.
went back to the hammer. It was wild, rock on rock love making rock babies. It was
Queerness,
interesting.
okay? Queerness in the beast. I love that.
Yeah, and I was loving Tessa. I don't know if anybody can because I don't really keep up too much with the comics, but I was confused when I got to the House of the Gods again with the Celestials. They were like peeking out, but I thought they were the ones that created the universe. So I don't know what the pecking order is. Like I thought they would have been more powerful than Zeus, um, because he even dealt with Zeus pretty quickly. So it was just I think the story was just mainly his relationship and giving that closure.
Yeah.
I
Everything's a romance, right?
That's what it was. I'm
And
not understanding if people were mad at it. I'm like I don't know. With Marvel movies now, it's like not everything needs to be the world is going to end
right.
because I'm not. I think they're still trying to figure out where they're going.
Exactly. And if you look at all the tweets, guys, at the bottom and in response to the space, you'll see kind of conversations. Sinead, they're talking about that too. Like, what do we expect from Marvel films now when we've had, like, to Aaron's point, 55 hours of this? Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's have some fun.
My,
Let's figure
yeah,
this out. But I
and I
also,
honestly think they should take almost like a break from those Marvel movies and start introducing us to the X-Men. But
well,
that's
there
that's
was an
just me
attempt.
personally.
Well,
There was an
that is
attempt.
coming. That is definitely
Yes,
coming.
there was an
See,
attempt, and it's coming.
that's what I'm waiting for. It's like we can take a break from all these. It's because I'm a little bit exhausted of superhero movies.
MCU fatigue, is that like a coin term now?
I mean all of it. Just because of the nature it does to like filmmaking and everything
Here's
as
the
a
thing.
whole. But
And this is where artistry meets industry. They're not going to stop.
they
It
can't.
makes
That
it
money's
makes
too
it makes
good.
way too much money, guys. We're going to be
The,
fatigued. That's why, again, if
the
you are
money's gonna talk.
okay with coming into a what we watch space and one of us being like, "Oh, you ain't watched this movie? Okay, so obviously you don't know what that is." Well, stop watching some of the movies if you don't think you don't like the director or the genre. Don't watch it.
Right,
See
right.
how you feel about not watching a Marvel movie,
I
and that's
mean,
where the monopoly comes in because people don't want
Turner
to binge
Turner
watch it.
Classic Movies is right there. If y'all are having
Go ahead with that
I'm
TMC.
telling you,
go like Turner Classic Movies is
Centurion
there.
channel is
Like
right there.
Cannes
Sony is.
Festival is right around the corner. Like go get your art house bars off. We want to see comic book shit over here. We want to see capes and shit. All right.
And I don't know about. I have a quick question because I know I talk to my friends and try to convince them.
Not
Do
art
you
house.
guys actually watch like I guess trailers to like those Marvel movies, or do you avoid them?
I am, and I'll just speak for what we watch. And those of you that are rotated out, just, just in-house kind of stuff, I've rotated you out just to let other people in, but I'll rotate you back in as we speak. We are going to close it out in about 15 minutes. And I told y'all we're going to talk about Tessa for about that 15 minutes. But
Period.
Sinead, my answer to that is I do not watch trailers for any movie. I'm very anti-trailer. I respect the artistry around creating trailers. I think it is a very difficult thing to
Yeah.
market a movie, get people to watch it, but not tell me too much. I am
Right.
just incredibly scarred by how much trailers ruin some scenes for me. I'm incredibly scarred by that.
Hmm.
And I know I'm going to watch it anyway, so you can get my money anyways. So I don't watch trailers.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's me. I don't watch
Yeah.
it. I know the
Yeah.
director. I'll hear enough about it. I'll read a little bit. I'm not watching the trailers. There's some scenes that I love to be the first. That's the first time I
You
saw it. I
see
love
it,
it. I'm
yeah,
obsessed. I'm obsessed. Me and you, we're the same.
exactly.
Yeah. But I don't know. Anybody else? Y'all watch trailers before Marvel movies? Clap if you do. Peace sign if you don't. It's not a.
I
It's not a
I
bad
watched
thing.
them once and I never watched them again because I don't want to remember the exact scenes, but I want to see it once because I'm nosy.
I like
Okay, so we got some nosy people, and that's
I
fine. I
like
get it.
I
Go
like
ahead.
trailers. Yeah, I like trailers because, like, I mean, I'm also somebody who doesn't mind spoilers, just because the way my anxiety is set up. I just like to know what I'm going into. So,
Look, I got anxiety too, but I guess I just love a little issues with that. But okay, so we got a few people that. Okay, cool. So, Clat, you don't watch trailers. Good. Some peace signs. It's the heart with the plus sign at the bottom right, you guys, of this space on your mobile app. Okay. Did that answer your question, Sinead? Yeah, I don't. I'm not watching no trailers. Like when Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness came out, child,
Yeah,
I had no idea. No
I
idea what
just,
was going on. Nothing.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't alone
Oh my
in
god, I
this
love
fight.
it. I love not knowing nothing. I love it. It's my favorite thing. I'm just here, blind, don't know anything. Love it. Go in. Everything shocks and surprises me. Jess, go ahead. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, no worries. So I just wanted to, I guess, answer your question about stakes, reply to Ashley's point about like Jane, and then basically say I need more of Tessa in these
Oh,
movies.
perfect.
So
It's Tessa time. It's Tessa time,
absolutely.
guys.
So
Everyone
so here's
adjust.
what
It's
I'll
Tessa time.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So here's what I'll say. I'll say quickly. I think because they've been setting up Thor to be a lover boy for many movies now. I think of a movie of him and Jane falling in love, him thinking that he's found his purpose in that, as opposed to being a god and then losing her to cancer, or quote unquote losing her to cancer, as we get into my stakes, answer. I think that would have been a
Right.
great movie. I think that would have been a great movie. Now,
Mm,
what I will say is, you know what? I'll say that it would probably be a little less about Jane and a little less about the mighty Thor, and more
mm,
about their dynamic together, watching
right.
them fall in love, and then seeing what happens there. I think that could have been an awesome movie.
Mm,
Um, and
I
here's my
agree with
thing.
that. I just want to say I agree with that, Jess. I mean, I don't think we wanted to see a montage of her turning into Thor. That was all I meant.
Yeah,
I
no.
agree.
My initial point was simply just about like we could have had one film of them falling in love, the other one about Gore, and then a third one about him finding his purpose through his daughter. So, but
Here's
again,
the thing.
like
That's an amazing
Monique said,
critique as a filmmaker. You want me? You wanted more from me. I love that. Great.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. But here's my
Fine.
point to the stakes now. We might get that. We still might get it, and here's why I say that. The end credits. Who do we see in Valhalla? Right? Jane pops up with my boy Idris Elba.
Mm.
And you know what they're doing is
With
they're
another
setting up a.
horrendous wig. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my gosh, it was so bad. It was
a
so
Tyler
bad.
Perry wig.
They
Oh my
gotta
goodness.
Fuck,
they
man.
I
gotta
don't
stop doing
understand.
black people hair like that. They did
Hey,
my
there
man
was
wrong in
shit from
Doctor Strange
Tennessee.
So
without
bad.
this, bro.
It was
Wait.
so bad.
Hold on, guys. To contrast that, they did Tessa Thompson's hair well. Tessa Thompson
I
had
don't
great.
care. My nigga it just had a terrible wig.
Did you see how that man looked in the Doctor Strange movie? That shit was in a front, bro.
Nigga, a wig full of spliffs? Like, what is going on
Oh,
here?
not a wig full of
What is
splits.
the wig budget? This is why we need to hire more black artists, my friends. We need to hire more
Black
black
Panther 2
artists.
is
I
next.
agree.
They better not
Get
play around with that wig
get more
budget. They better
black
not.
Disney
people
has
in
the
hair and
points.
makeup. This is
My
a
goodness,
serious
Disney has
issue
the
across.
points.
Go ahead, Jess. Sorry.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But
Yeah.
here's my thing, right? So Jane and Idris they pop up as a welcome to the afterlife. And in a movie or so, maybe phase
Correct.
5, maybe phase 6,
Correct.
Thor is gonna find some sort of portal to
Correct.
Valhalla, right? Another thing where I think like the stakes or the reason why it just doesn't feel as permanent, Monique, to your question, like, well, how much more do we really need? I think the other thing that a lot of people are feeling around these movies, and you know what, maybe part of this too is just my ignorance. I wasn't like a big comic book reader as a child. I read a lot of Archie comics with my cousins and
Mm.
some of the X-Men comics, right? Like I didn't
Okay.
really get into the
Taste.
weeds of that world.
Love X-Men
So
taste.
Right? Of course. I'm in your spaces, so taste must abound, right?
Period.
So here's the thing, though. Like, this could be just a function of how comics are written, and you know what? What's happening on the screen is just the way the story will be told. And like people were already saying in the spaces, let's just go for the ride. But part of what may be missing for some people, and I feel it at times as well, especially with the last Doctor Strange film, it just kind of felt like we set up a lot of everything, but nothing at the same time. And it's like they have these things that they can fall back on, like eternity. And Kim was asking earlier, why couldn't Thor also make a wish on eternity, and kind of like change the way the movie ended. What they
Right.
did mention is the person who got there first. So I'll just answer her question. It was the person that got there first that made the wish that was able
Okay.
to get what they needed. So Thor didn't get there in time. Gore got there first.
Yeah.
But
If you're not first, then you last, as a
then you
wise man
last,
once said.
exactly.
Period.
But like things like eternity will pop up, right? And it'll change the what everything means in the movie, because you could just wish someone back to life. Or we know that the time stone is there. We know that America Chavez is chilling
Yes.
with Doctor Strange. She could pop up and open a portal to anything. There's just a lot of these things that writers can use as plot armor to bring anybody back to life that they want. My guy Killmonger dies in one of the most
And
epic
hopefully
things
he
I've
stays dead.
ever seen.
Correct. Hopefully
But
we
there's
never
but
see
there's
him
Stop
already
again.
a
that.
conversation. There's
Hopefully
already a
he's
Hey, now,
conversation.
come on.
Stop that.
hopefully we don't see him
No, he needs to
anymore.
come
We've had
back.
enough.
We need him in BP2. Don't do that.
I
But
think
but
we're
here's the
okay.
thing: the fact that that's even possible is why nobody feels the
And
stakes.
Jess, I think that's what thank you. I know we had some vocabulary here. I think I'm gonna sit with the term permanence. But again, I
Yes.
say,
I could not disagree
why
more.
would you
We all knew
why
that they
would
were
you
coming
ever
back.
why would you ever go into a Marvel movie expecting permanence? Quite frankly, I'm the only one that should be complaining here, because me and Tony Stark, our relationship has taken
Oh,
effect.
brother.
And that's really the only permanent thing that has occurred that anybody cares about,
Well, because
because
he
they
said
really
he's
took my
done. Yeah.
guy.
Chris
And
Evans, same thing. It only seems to happen when the actors say, "I think I'm done with this world."
yeah, and so
Natalie
really the
Portman
only
said she was done too, and she right back.
and she right exactly. Thank you. So really, I'm the only one that gets to complain about permanence here, guys. Don't go
I
into
think
Marvel
Scarlet may be
movies.
done, and I'll complain about that.
Uh, anyways,
I mean,
you
it's
know what? That
comic book
is
movies. People die every 60 issues and come back.
that is anti women of color, and so we do need to make sure that we highlight ScarJo's removal. That is a problem.
No,
Asian
absolutely,
queen.
absolutely.
Absolutely a problem, right? But yeah, I like that you said the term permanence, because maybe that's what people are like, well, the stakes aren't high enough. We don't get to sit with people dying enough and people, losing. And when, you lose something, you get it right back. And I'm like, that's kind of like been happening in Marvel. You kind of really
Right,
don't
right.
ever permanently lose anything. And if there's enough turmoil around the loss, the person loses their mind, right? Like, I guess there's a permanence in Wanda, but even she gets to keep using the dark whatever to get, I get to see my kids in my dreams. There's some way that, like, and you know what, I think it's really kind of how life is. Speaking of, I'm about to tie this in with you guys. If you watch Jojo Rabbit, at the end there's a poem with Rainier Maria Rilke. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's a beautiful poem. Wait till the end and watch the excerpt from the poem and then read the poem. But there's a thing said there, and it's like, no feeling is permanent. And it's basically this idea that, like, anything that you feel, we're always going to keep going through the feelings. We're going to feel something else. Your sadness is not permanent. Your happiness is not permanent. Everything's going to keep going, and it's cyclical. So I think that's an overall kind of thing. Jay, I'm going to remove you. You're very, very loud. But you can come back up when you're done. So that's basically it. Thank you, Jess. And as Streep, hey, as Jay, welcome. You seem like a first timer.
Hello. I am a first timer, and I'm
Welcome.
just gonna thank you so much. I've been listening for a little bit. Don't jump me, guys. I feel like I'm going to be in a hostile camp, but I did not like the film. I'm a Ragnarok truther. It's my favorite Marvel film. I'm also a huge Taika stan, but it really felt like he just phoned this whole film in. It was fun. I don't think I'll give it a rewatch. My biggest issue was that he was doing way too much. an action rom-com superhero film. Okay, like, and I don't think he explored enough. Like, he didn't achieve the depth that he did in Ragnarok in this film. Like a lot of Taika films, when they're good, they're really good. And he tends to rely on the trope of the perils of hero worship, which is kind of where this film fell flat for me.
So, and I like this. So when I hear someone say that,
film really just left me sitting in the cinema going, also Christian Bale, loved his performance.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Mo, we do. Yeah, we do, Mo.
As Streep, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me ask you, because you said it didn't go deep enough. Do you mind expounding upon what went deep in Ragnarok? Because here's the thing: if you didn't like the movie, I get it, but I'm very fascinated by people that didn't like this one but liked Ragnarok, because it feels like it's the same.
110%. So Ragnarok to me was an allegory on colonialism and a real like interesting thought experiment on what happens when whiteness is explored like from the perspective of like overcoming the issues around and the horrors of colonialism. So it was really Thor looking into his past as a product and what he has obtained from Odin by like the fruits of the destruction that Odin has caused, and Hela was the manifestation of that. That to me is where the depth of Ragnarok came from. It was
Thank you for explaining that. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Whereas Love and Thunder was missing that completely. He was touching on why gods, like I think someone explained the plot hole perfectly, which was what's the point of the Thor going out on a limb for the gods if the gods aren't doing what the gods are supposed to do? You know what I mean? It was kind of like a loop that rendered the story pointless. You know what I mean? And it kind of rendered Gore's whole thing a little bit pointless too. It minimized those stakes completely, and I was just kind of sitting there like, where's the theme? Where are we going here? What's that element of what made Ragnarok great and like set it apart from the rest of the Marvel, offerings was really missing here. And I really expected a lot more from Taika because he does it so well in every other film that he's produced. Jojo Rabbit, I would say that this problem was kind of similar to the one that he had in Jojo Rabbit, where the whole thing with Hitler was, don't worship your heroes, don't ever meet your heroes, and less about the big issues around exactly what Hitler did.
Right. And that's how I described that movie to someone recently. I was like, well, it's about this, but it's not, but it's kind of about it.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I'm still committed. I'm gonna look forward to the rest of whatever Taika has to offer for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just hope he goes back to what he's really good at, and yeah.
Excellent critique. Thank you for that. It was very empathetic, gentle to the artist. Thank you for that. Co-host, y'all have anything to say? Any disagreements, agreements, any commentary on that?
I just wanted to quickly shout out the use of the music in this film. I I wasn't really sure how I was gonna feel about all the Guns N' Roses and shit, but I felt like building off Ragnarok, it kind of felt right.
The use of music in this one and Ragnarok have been brilliant.
Agreed.
I love the Enya
Immigrant Song in Ragnarok is probably my favorite needle drop in all the Marvel movies. Like that shit was just epic. But and also Michael Giacchino, who did the score. Very busy year for that man.
Is that how we say his name?
Giacchino, yeah.
Okay. Because I've been saying it wrong.
He did Spider-Man: No Way Home, The Batman, Lightyear. Busy year for that man. He's been killing it.
Michael, and I also have a Spotify playlist if you want it, if you're a writer, artist, director, anything, while you're working with Michael and a lot of other great composers. I do appreciate you bringing that up, Henry, because I feel like composers and musicians are often overlooked. And most of the movie that you experience is the music behind it, the sound and everything. It's very important. Like you said, a needle drop. When a villain comes in, what's playing, right? And I feel like oftentimes we don't know our favorite composers in a film. And that's why we have what we watch. I want us all to know the artists behind the work that we claim to love so much, right? The last movie you watched, the director, the screenwriter, the composer that created the sound and the effects and the music to kind of guide and flow with the conversation, right? It should always feel like a very musical, beautiful film should always feel like that. So they have a huge job. So thank you for, again, I've been saying Giacchino, so it's Giacchino.
Giacchino, yeah.
It's Giacchino. Okay, he don't say the Gia out. I say the Gia. Okay, got it. Renee, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to applaud the music. One of my huge criticisms of Doctor Strange is the music was terrible. The music choice was terrible. And I really feel like they wanted it to be less horrific than what it was, because it was a scary movie. But then it would just be this like weird, like comedic hero shit, as like Doctor Strange has taken over a dead body and has dark spirits as wings, and it's like do 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 do. I'm like, this is unserious. It was very unserious. I was very annoyed. I was very impressed with Thor's music because I felt it. I felt every moment. Like, I even was, and let's be clear, I'm not a problematic person, even though Mo wants to cancel me. The music was done so well that, I even was able to turn a blind eye to children being used as child soldiers. But I tried to say, you know what? They are guardians. I guess eventually they were going to battle, so they're as guardians. It's fine. It's fine. Kids were in a cage.
Y'all can't cancel me, all right? We can't cancel us. Child labor was okay if it's as guardians, all right?
It's funny you say you didn't like the score for Doctor Strange because Giacchino did the score for the first movie. And when Sam Raimi stepped in, I guess him and Danny Elfman, they always
Correct.
do.
Elfman came in.
Yeah, they're constant collaborators. And so, yeah, I felt like Elfman dropped the ball with that Multiverse of Madness.
And directors tend to do that. Yeah. Get my composer on in here.
Multiverse was just it was mid as hell. It was the multiverse.
Oh God, there's a huge point of contention.
I had a great time.
I had a great time. I watched it twice. I had a great time.
Mo,
let me know if you like.
We love you. It's fine.
I think my problem is that I watch these movies with Mo and she has so much fun, and then I have so much fun, and then I just like all the movies.
Sorry, I love the fact that they let Sam Raimi get into his bag in that movie, and it was awesome.
Same.
I was terrified.
Definitely horrific.
You were supposed to be terrified.
And exactly, you're supposed to be.
I
was
the
sober
part.
and it was a mess. It was messy. Stop lying. Yo,
whose mistake was that you walked in there sober?
Listen,
it was my fault. I shouldn't have been sober. You're right.
I was high in that movie and I was angry. And I need you to understand, I am a happy person when I am high. So for me to feel anger and be high, I said, I want my money back. I
haven't watched a comic book movie sober since the first Spider-Man, the OG Spider-Man.
And
I love that they let Wanda just tear shit up.
I just moved to LA, so I just adopted the culture. But I would tell you what, there's only one movie that I didn't thoroughly enjoy. I respect it from an artistic perspective. There are beautiful shots. You know how I am. I love a beautiful scenic shot. The only movie I didn't enjoy while high was Green Knight. I was like, what's going on here?
You don't have to give that movie any compliments. You don't have to do that.
What's going on here?
But I need to redeem myself. Okay,
I like the Green Knight.
Have you tried to see a movie in 4DX high and drunk?
Yes, I did that with the Batman. I had a great not drunk. Well, I don't drink like that. Yeah, no, man.
So I
drank, but I had a great time.
But no, it was hard. Okay, so Multiverse, it was hard. Okay, don't.
Oh no, we won't be doing that
for life.
No, we won't be doing
4DX.
So
I got to put on a sports bra for that shit. It's so hard.
So it's officially Tessa time. It's Tessa time. We have not talked enough about Tessa and Taika.
Praise Tessa.
So period. We're going to go around the room and shut this down here in a little bit. Thank you so much for joining. If you are in the audience, please follow What We Watch Film TV. I'm going to get a newsletter out for you guys tomorrow. I'm hiring a social media manager, an assistant. What We Watch is going up. Things are going great. Our head of marketing is happening. And thank you for supporting. Please, the link tree should be in my bio. Please support, donate while you can, and subscribe to the newsletter. But it is Tessa time. And I want to highlight again, Taika. This is a pretty powerful cast. We didn't talk a lot about this. This is a strong cast. All right. We got Chris Hemsworth, Russell Crowe, Christian motherfucking Bale. All right. We got Chris Pratt. I'm joking. Tessa Thompson, Natalie Portman, I mean, we've got a really strong cast. And then honestly, guys, did the kids not do a phenomenal job in this film?
They
The kids
crushed it.
did a great job. They did a fantastic. Axel was fantastic. We got Idris Elba in there as well.
They were awesome.
There's a whole trajectory for Idris that we really got to figure out in his career, because I want more of him, but I want more of
You know
him.
his trajectory. He accepts the bag. You offer the bag, he accepts the bag.
Look, that's my trajectory too, kind of. I'm trying to work on that. I'd be accepting bags as well. So, but let's talk about the cast, particularly Tessa. I'm going to call on you. Let's celebrate Tessa. If you're in the audience, come on up, request. Let's talk about what we love about Tessa. And I want to talk about her as an artist as well as an actress. You know, she's Panamanian, she's bisexual, she's open, she's talented. I'm kind of biased, obviously, but my bias works because she is such a force on film. And she's gorgeous, honestly. So, all right, I'm going to start with Jamel.
Hello.
Hi, it's Tessa time.
Yeah, with Tessa, the more and more I've seen of her, just the greater respect I have for her as an actor. I don't think she was allowed to the roles that she received earlier.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Go ahead.
Hey, what way the reading went out. But with Tessa, with every role, she's been allowed more and more to spread her wings. And I feel as though that since about Sylvie's Love, I've really started to appreciate what she brings as an actor, and especially passing. But even with this, I just think that going back to Thor Ragnarok, Tessa's knows that difference what to bring to each film without looking like you're phoning it in. And so she brings something different to those movies, Sylvie's Love and Passing, than what she brings to Thor. But she understands the assignment, and I really love any actor that knows when to just have a ball and when to, take the material serious and so forth.
And thank you. I like to hear from Jamel. I like to hear from actors talking and speaking to other actors and their talent and how they feel about it. So thank you for that. It means a lot to me to hear artists that kind of also practice in that realm and get it and have studied it and, try to be their best in it. Speak to Tessa. I think also, as we're talking about Tessa, tell me some of the other work that you like. Thank you, Jamel, for kind of, setting that standard, because and kind of that landmark or that mark where you're like, hey, Tessa is really, really talented. What sticks out for me is when an artist's performance sticks out in a film that I maybe don't love. And it's not that I don't like it, but I don't love it. But what sticks with me is that, oh my gosh, Tessa really ate that role. Maybe I didn't love the film overall, but in every scene, Tessa captivates me, from a visual perspective and just a performance perspective. So, Chinedu, please.
Yeah, I thought Tessa, I just personally think Tessa is like one of the greatest. Her introduction in Ragnarok, I was like, this is one of my favorite Marvel characters. And she's just been, the way they developed her and how she just brings her presence is spectacular. Even because I'm rewatching Westworld, and just speaking of her as an actor, even in Westworld, she had to change her character to be more like a Dolores. And then so it's like she had to have 3 different kind of characters. And that's, if anybody's an actor out here, you already know how difficult that is. And she's just so good with her stillness, doesn't move unless there's purpose. And she, she looks good on screen. I'm not gonna lie. Even I think you were talking about even in bad movies. Like I saw, was it Men in Black?
Yeah.
That's
anything bad, but
all that good. But she and Hemsworth, that duo is just amazing. But even in something bad, she's hella good. So yeah, I'm
agreed. Agreed. And yeah, I don't call anything bad, but thank you for bringing up Westworld.
Not my taste. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of talking about. I don't, don't get mad at me, guys. I'm not in love with Westworld, but I tell you what, I'll watch an episode, I'll watch a season. Tessa will get me, between Tessa and Thandi.
You're not missing anything.
between Tessa and Thandie, I'll try to get committed when I'll get to it when I get to it. There's some shows that are, under that. I'll get to it when I get to it. And some are like, I got to watch this now. And so thank you for bringing up Westworld. Another great point. Jacob?
Yeah, I was just going to say about Tessa. You just brought up Westworld. That was the point I was going to make. I mean, I've loved her in this role as Valkyrie, and her and Chris Hemsworth obviously have good chemistry together because they've worked in multiple projects now together.
Correct.
And her and Natalie Portman were phenomenal on screen together. But whether you like or dislike the series, in Westworld, her performances have been phenomenal because she has shown incredible range in the series, and you really see kind of a lot more of the depths of her as an actor in that series because she has to play so many different types of character all rolled into one.
Exactly. I fully agree. Teach, go ahead.
First of all, I want to point out the chemistry you see when you see Tessa Thompson, who has worked with Taika before and understands his humor. You could tell that just her and Hemsworth really understood Taika's vision, and you see that kind of pop on screen. But I also want to point out that Tessa Thompson and Natalie Portman have been in the movie together before. It's called Annihilation. It's a pretty good watch. It is not a comedy.
Name the director.
Yes, but those two people have been on set before. They know each other personally, and I thought that the entire time I was watching it, I was like, these three people have so much chemistry with each other. It was just radiating off the screen, and it really makes that stuff work. There are some tonal shifts that really happen, like the kids get kidnapped, and then we're in the rom-com immediately. That would feel jarring if handled by a director with less caring hands or handled with a cast that didn't really understand the vision. But I thought it all worked so perfectly because of the chemistry between Portman,
such a strong cast,
Hemsworth, and it's just like incredible. But it's like I had to remember, like, oh yeah, these people know each other. This is not just like show up to set and now we start to establish chemistry. They already had that chemistry, and I thought you really saw it. And Tessa is really her, and I want her to ruin my life because I'm in love with her. That's it.
Bars. And here's the thing. Thank you for bringing up again. That's why I love when we reference other arts. Annihilation is directed by Alex Garland. Annihilation 2018. It's a fantastic movie. Highly recommended by what we watch, myself, and also every other Alex Garland movie. Quite frankly, he hasn't missed really for me quite yet. Solo or not? What's it called? Ex Machina.
He could have cut Men, but other than that,
no, Men was phenomenal. Men was beautiful, perfect, loved it. So yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. Tessa and Natalie Portman did body that film as well, so thank you. Natalie Portman is also phenomenal. We're just, we want to highlight
she's great.
The marginalized groups here, Black women, bisexual people, that kind of thing. It's very beautiful, and not just to, the identity exists, but also she was able to be that in film. So in the film, with kissing the hands and all kinds of stuff that she was able to do as a queer Black woman. And I think Taika and her, she has an interview with, or she talks about it in a couple articles where that relationship and that conversation was at the forefront of developing her role in this film. So, Erin, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. First of all, y'all know I love her. Y'all know I love Tessa. Okay. And I'm going to take it back. I've been a fan of this girl. I have known this woman's name. She has been on the tip of my tongue since Veronica Mars.
Speak on it.
Yes. Thank you. She was the first Black recurring role on Veronica Mars. She was a girlfriend of Wallace, and they tried to make her out to be like Veronica's villain. But Tessa, I think the audience generally hated her, but loved her portrayal of an antagonist to Veronica. And it was to the credit of Tessa's craft and her ability to act and her ability to still be a villain but be likable that made me a fucking fan of hers ever since 2005. I've been following her. She did like 2 episodes of Private Practice. She was on like Rizzoli and Isles. Like, I've literally been a fan. I want a big spoon, that girl. Well, actually, no, I want her to be the big spoon, but she's 5.
You are not alone in this thought.
5'4", I'm 5'10". I feel like most likely she would be the little spoon, but whatever.
Perfect.
her.
And here's the thing: fully understood, fully agree. I'll be big or little spoon. I don't mind
Right.
either way.
I'll take what she will give me. I'll take a wink and a smile. I'll take whatever she will give me.
Yeah.
But
When I meet her, I'll let y'all know how it is. I'll let y'all know.
please do. Please do.
My Panamanian bisexual queen. Henry, go ahead.
But,
sorry, Aaron. Did you finish? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Aaron.
No, I do love her. I've loved her ever since Veronica Mars. Like literally know her name.
Taste.
That series. And I love her actual growth. And the funny thing is seeing her from like, her, infancy of her career to being a box office draw is like you have seen her name grow and her craft literally grow because she has blossomed as an artist and as an actress, and it is actually amazing to watch it. But
yes.
I think she's phenomenal. I can never ever say anything bad about. I don't know. Okay, so she might be okay, whatever. So her and Janelle Monáe, maybe there was there something within whatever. If it ain't me, I rather Janelle, but I prefer me.
That might be overload.
But
we love Janelle. We love
so do I.
Stand an artist across all forms.
Remember when she was dancing back up in the yoga video for Janelle? Anyway, whatever. I'm just saying I love her, and
yes, we'll celebrate it. All parts of her.
I hated her in the movie, and I think she did an amazing job. I just want to see more of her on screen all the time.
And tap into her IMDb. I'm always like paying attention to what movies and shows they're continuing and what they're filming in. They're one person. We forget it's a business. So I love to read about how she's making decisions on where to film what and when. So definitely look up Tessa and see what she's in next.
Working.
Yes, booked and busy, sweetie. Okay, period. Renee, go ahead. And Henry, did you have your hand up?
I did. I just wanted to quickly say the first time I saw Tessa Thompson was in Creed. And there was a specific line reading after he knocked somebody out. She hops in the ring. She looks him in his eyes and said, "I didn't know you had hands like that." And I may or may not have fantasized about her saying that to me in a different context. I yield my time. I yield my time.
With reason. She did body that role as well. Look at Tessa.
Oh, very much
I'll tell you, we gonna respect Tessa today. We gonna tweet and respect Tessa today.
She was carrying Michael B in those out of ring scenes.
Talk about it, TJ.
Carrying.
Let's talk about it now.
Oh yeah, she got the back for it. She literally
was
just
brilliant in Creed.
Killmonger and whatever out of my. We're good.
Killmonger was good. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
We're okay. We're okay without Killmonger. Let's just keep moving forward. Renee, go ahead. Thank you, Henry, for pointing that out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna first say positive things about her craft before objectifying her because I'm not gonna be canceled, and I respect her as a person. So just hearing that I didn't know Tessa worked with Natalie Portman, and she has great chemistry with all of the people that she seems to work with, which is also a testament to one the
it's
fact
her.
That she's actually probably a really personable person, and then two, she's also probably a great person to work with, which she's a great employee. And
as many as and I can confirm as a Panamanian bisexual woman myself, I can confirm. Yeah, we're great. Can confirm.
Great colleague.
That's why you love me. That's why you love me, Renee. Go ahead.
I just tweeted that Gore might have had points because God might have left me and has made me your friend with a 36-year-old. I'm really struggling right now.
You're 42 years.
I mean, Gore had points. Confirm. I don't know.
We're great. It might be the Panamanian inner. I don't know. Whatever. Go ahead.
I watch Westworld, which it's kind of weird right now. With that being said, I loved how Tessa, she transitioned from being Dolores to a mother struggling to love her child or loving her child to now being I just got to get revenge, big mood. Love seeing her in Passing. I thought her portrayal in Passing was really, really great, especially with
same Renee.
Yep, especially
that was one of my favorite. It's hard to choose a favorite, but she bodied Passing. I was yo, she is eating this role.
Yeah, and there was queer undertones in that movie too. So
absolutely.
I like you can definitely tell she's having fun when she's doing an MCU movie. So I like that, because envious. I too would like to have fun at my job. But I'm a consultant, so I have Excel sheets and PowerPoints and saying things like a line and level set. So, I'm with my feet.
You make your money, girl. Don't you be ashamed.
I am not having fun. Okay.
None of us are, Renee.
So, yeah. All right. So to objectify, she lives in Brooklyn. She's currently, unfortunately, dating a man. I know that's the struggle of being bi. I unfortunately have some crushes on men. I unfortunately have some crushes on men right now.
Hashtag love wins.
No, love is not winning. If it's a man, it's love is losing. It's called love losing. Hashtag.
Seems like she's dating both right now. From pictures I've seen.
Oh my God.
Let's not speak too much on her dating life, but either way, we're celebrating it.
Yeah, I want to be her third. I noticed that
100%.
Listen, I need to get to the important part about Tessa. I know there's some people who are verified in here and who may have close access to Tessa. If you do, let her know I am willing to be her third. I will have discretion. I just like to get paid in Maison Margiela tabby boots and Dries Van Noten clothes. I'm a fashion girl. I live in Brooklyn. Discretion. I can cook.
Okay. Come on, thruple resume.
I have like you. I've done a threesome before. I'm not new to this. I am true to this.
This is incredible content.
I'm over here with notepad and pen. I'm just taking notes right now.
Hey man, I will renew the subscription. Like, let me get my card right, because I know I'm paying for this. There's no way.
Welcome to What We Watch. Please go ahead and donate. Thank you. You heard it here first. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. Okay, we got one more hand up, two more hands up. Go ahead, Angela, and then Wally.
Okay, I just wanted to give Tessa her flowers too. She was the only thing that I liked in that movie where oh my gosh, what is it? Sorry to bother you, where the guy turns into a horse at the end of the movie.
Not you spoiling the film. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She saved everybody an hour and a half.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, here's the thing. People need to spoil
it. Terrible.
That shit stinks.
It's a terrible movie. But I do just want to have like a tidbit that I do want to talk about Idris Elba for like a teeny second.
Not you centering men during Tessa time. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
This is time to talk about our queer people, and you want to talk about Idris Elba?
Unbelievable.
No, just like quick. So every time I see him, I think of this interview he did. So he did a movie with Kate Winslet, and they were like on this British TV show talking about it. And they're like, yeah, they had to hide Kate Winslet's feet. Like every time they did a scene together, because like that turns him on. So like every time I see him, I think about that. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, I love Kate Winslet, and I think that movie's called like The Mountain Between Us or something. Yeah. I can't remember if I like that film or not.
Idris don't care if you liked it. He cares what he got paid for. That's all he cares about.
Which is, whomst among us, guys. Sometimes we do things because it pays the bills. All right. Wally, go ahead.
Okay, so glory be to Tessa. She is officially one of those people where if you just tell me she's in the movie, let me give it a look. Like, I don't know. I ain't got to really know what's going on in the movie. You tell me Tessa Thompson in it, I'll give it a look. Even if it sounds like a bad plot, she can save it. Along with that. Now, As far as like the movie is concerned, I know a lot of people saying it could have been longer, and I really and truthfully thought there are like at least 30 minutes of Thor that they could chew into this thing and make it a real masterpiece. And I don't know if it was a Taika thing where he didn't want to drag it out, but at least some things with Gore, because, and I think I told T like in a tweet like a couple days ago, it's literally like Gore went to heaven and found God smoking crack, and just who would not react like he did? Like, I gotta get all you niggas out the paint
comparison,
because like Christian Bale, I've always been he's not there with me while I watch anything he's in, because he's in some very weird things, but definitely
very fair.
But definitely he brings some heat to this role.
Absolutely.
And some very much like the symmetry between he was literally in front of a god begging him to save his child. And the god, once again, metaphorically smoking crack, was like, nah, whatever. And at the end, once again, he's in front of a god asking him to save his child and gets an entirely different perspective based on, even after everything he had already done, he got a entirely different perspective. And I really felt we could have seen that fleshed out with his attacks through these other gods and stuff like that, but they just kind of didn't go through it. And Christian Bale really, like, I you know, once again, I'm old ass man, so I'll be crying at anything these days. But
Love
it
that for
definitely,
you. We celebrate that here.
it
I love a
definitely
good
got me
cry.
at the end, like, because when I realized once again he's prostrating himself and he's asking somebody, save my child.
Beautiful.
And you know, and Chris Hemsworth, you know, he's definitely, you know, one of those guys where if I happen to be in a position where I might investigate some dick, he might be on the list. So
good for you.
But he definitely and truthfully killed that with the look he gave him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, once again, definitely deserve to get more gore. But you know,
I love that. And if and if we can center Tessa one more time, please. You know, it's Tessa time. The scene with Gore and Tessa was beautiful. That entire scene, obviously, but their dialogue, you know, those actors, Natalie, was it Thor? Was Scratch? No, Thor wasn't in a vine. Was Thor in a vine?
All of them were in a vine.
They all were in Vine. And Tessa gave
Thor
you
was in a
real
vine
tears.
too.
Those were real tears.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But Tessa was
that part was
bodying
really
that.
good.
That's when an actor really, you know, they're you know, in whatever CGI, whatever visual effects, and they got to just act, right? They got to just make their faces look like they're struggling. Phenomenal, great job. So
No,
yeah,
Gore really
definitely.
said to her. He said to her, "You lost your best friend and your bitch. Why are you fighting for the gods?"
Period. Bars. Okay.
You know, I hope that they do more with her and not leave her on the side like they did Drax and Mantis.
Yes. Agreed. Did you want to get your bars off on Tessa? Welcome to the stage, Party Monster. Hey, Party Monster. You've been here before.
Y'all pretty much said everything that I was
Period.
thinking of. So, yeah. But did y'all like discuss like how did y'all feel about this movie?
Oh, baby, we did. We've been in here for almost 3 hours. I'm about to shut this down.
Oh wow.
Wait, tell us how you feel. Give us a quick summary of how you felt.
Absolutely.
So, it's just I have a problem with Thor's trilogy. For me, it's just I don't really care for comedy Thor, and the fact that they just make him look like a joke to me, and they just like skipped out on this mythology story because there could have been so much they could have told.
Okay. So you wanted more.
Yes, I expect Marvel to do more with they should have done more with him because and then another thing that ticks me off is that it literally made no sense how Thanos was just over here throwing him back and forth and Iron Man and Captain America was just giving it to Thanos.
Fair enough. So, what did you like about the movie? You like Tessa. Was there anything that you did celebrate? Because not
honest,
liking comedy Thor, you kind of put yourself, you know, that's going to probably continue to happen. So,
yeah.
what do you like about the films?
I mean, I like that the girls was like really serving more than Chris Hemsworth in the movie.
Absolutely.
Can I say no to that?
Can you say no to what?
I said you cannot say no to that.
Oh, perfect. Agreed. Renee, I saw your hand up. Thank you, Party Monster. Yeah, next time. We started at 5:30 today, babe. We'll talk more.
I mean,
go ahead, Renee.
I did want to say something very quick, but you know, we're just gonna bring it back to Tessa. One thing that I did appreciate, just because I do shadow work, I love the shadow world and the fact that fucking Gore was toiling in like his shadow self. Which shout out to Carl Jung, who talked about like the concept of your shadow self, the dark passenger taking over, and like when he was just like in his own darkness, like that's why he was like creating like so much chaos. And I know we didn't really talk about it, but like when they entered the shadow world, how the light faded away when they were like fighting with like the lightning, and like then you would see these like flashes of color. It was beautiful.
Yes, and
we didn't even talk about that, but when that color went off that movie screen, I almost fell out of my seat. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Amazing scene.
And that's what I wanted to close out this. Honestly, great segue. Perfect. Thank you guys for joining this space. Please tweet it out. Tell me how you feel. At me. Let me know. If you didn't get to speak, I'm still willing to listen. Subscribe at whatwewatch.net. Follow What We Watch Film TV. But yes, I think this film was beautiful. We could talk about this for another probably 3.5 hours if we didn't have to work and take care of ourselves as human beings and go live our lives. I love that you guys enjoy the conversation. I love how we disagree, how we agree, how we remind each other of elements in the film that we might have forgotten or not mentioned or different perspectives. But I definitely just want to close out with, again, please celebrate Taika, Tessa, Chris Hemsworth, Thor. Everyone did a phenomenal job. I think the team was fantastic. The composing was fantastic, soundtrack. And yeah, the Shadow Realm, that is a unique scene and directing that we have not seen in any other Marvel film. You have not seen that happen before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have y'all seen color go to black and white in a Marvel movie?
No, and then when they're fighting, they bring in the
No.
pops of color when they were that shit
And
was
so
cool.
this is a lesson in physics as well, okay? Because shadows, especially in the quote unquote, space, they're lost, right? Because light travels at a certain speed. So it's beautiful to see them kind of say, okay, well, these weapons emit some sort of energy. So there'll be like pops of color, but it's not really color and it kind of fades very quickly. And that just spoke to the power of Gore, right? Which is why a lot of y'all were saying, hey, I want more of Gore because he's very powerful and he is like stuck in his darkness and the shadows were engulfing everything. I thought it was fucking beautiful. I thought that was very bold, very unique. I wish I would have been in the room where they were like, yo, this is what we finna do. The Shadow Realm, you think it's just shadows? No, it's black and white. We're about to have a black and white film for the next 15 minutes. That is so fucking cool.
Yes,
I think that's the first
especially
time.
from a technical standpoint too. They're using a new technology. Taika was talking about how you can like literally manipulate the lighting in the scene because I thought that was very important too, especially if you're going to black and white.
Period.
So yeah,
that's
I might
amazing.
have seen a scene.
What'd you say?
I said I might have seen a black and white scene, but it was more like a teaser, a
Like a
Easter egg.
flashback or something? Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
you
it
saying
was like it was like in Doctor Strange when him and America Chavez, they were like going through the multiverse, and it
right.
was like that one world where it was like black and
yeah, it
white,
was
and
like
it seemed like
steampunk. Yeah,
it
Good
seemed
point.
to
Yep.
me it seemed to me like they was teasing Spider-Man Noir.
That's fair. That's fair. Good call. Good call.
Isn't
Definitely. So we have
Logan
seen
black and
black
white?
and white, and I think Captain America has some black and white. Do they have black and white flashbacks in those films sometimes?
Yeah,
Back in
Sometimes
the
they
'40s. Yeah,
maybe, yeah,
in the
right. Maybe
first
they have
one.
some. So definitely not new in that case, but this is unique, and thank you for adding the technical aspect of it. This was still a very unique approach to kind of tell the story, right? Because it wasn't just a flashback or a different realm. This was like, no, this exists, and he created this because of his darkness that he. And now that you may have color, but now you come into my world, everything's black and white. And again, with the weapons and the lighting, that was fucking awesome. So thank you again, everyone. I'm gonna shut this down. Enjoy your Wednesday.
Thank you, What We Watch.
Thank you. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. Bye, you guys. And let me know if you watch any of the recommended films and TV shows in here. Talk to us. Bye. Thank you, Henry and Teej.
been a pleasure.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Mo.